And tell us your name.
My name is Tim.
I'm going to turn you up a little bit.
I'm the chaplain at St Helena Hospice.
Is it appropriate to do
Yeah, definitely.
for a chaplain?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm going to come to you in a second. My name's Mikey. Let's get a name over here. I'm just going to disentangle at the same time. Tell us your name.
Hi, I'm Margot.
And who have we got over here? Come and have a seat for a second.
David.
What's your name?
David.
David. Let me hit you with a round of applause. So this is Talkie Pop-Up Talk Show. We're here at Rice and Spice Festival. That's your Coke, isn't it? Oh, anyway, we're here at my one's the one with the straw in it. Anyway, we're here at Rice and Spice Festival. This is Talkie. It's a pop talk show. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. I missed my chance again. Yeah, has anyone got anything they want to start off with? Any thoughts, comments, suggestions, observations? Hello, come and take a seat. We're just starting up, so perfect time to join us. Yep.
I made an Indian dal last night, and I feel like that was maybe subconsciously in preparation for today's event.
This is Talkie Pop-Up Talk Show. We have got Tim, we've got David, we've got Margot, I'm Mikey, we've got
Vicky.
Vicky, welcome. And what's your name? Sit down, you'll find out. What's your name?
Jessie.
Jessie?
Yeah.
And what's your name?
It's Vida.
Vida, come and have a seat. Come on. Don't worry, it's all safe. You can leave at any time. Just say goodbye to me and go if you want to. Don't worry, you're not.
You are live now?
No, we're not, but we're going to record. We're going to put it out live later on. Okay, has anyone got anything they want to talk about? Anyone to start off with? Maybe this man over here, come and join us. Yes, you can bring your food, everyone else's. I've just got to time it in the way. It just brings an extra challenge to me to time it in the way where...
It's just the weirdest lunch break.
Yeah, it's the world's weirdest lunch break we're having here. Hello. Come and take a seat. This is Talkie Pop-Up Talk Show. We're just starting. Come and join us. Okay, so we have got Margot, we've got Jessie, we've got Vida, we've got Vicky, we've got Tim. Tell us your name.
My name's Duncan.
Duncan, and my name's Mikey. We've got David over here, is keeping a watch on the punters coming through as well. But the whole point about Talkie is up to you to decide what you want to talk about. Has anyone got anything they want to start off with? Any thoughts, comments, suggestions?
I just love the variety we have in this world of culture, cuisine, languages. My wife is from Trinidad in the West Indies, so I get spoilt for food, and she's hopefully going to be down here later. But I just love learning. I think we're so blessed in this country that we don't really have to travel abroad. We can find out about so many other different cultures.
It's almost like going on a world tour, being in this festival.
Yes.
We're on a world tour. Do you feel like you're on a world tour, Jessie?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you got a favourite destination?
India. I think I've never been to India.
India, okay.
I like the Indian food.
Oh yeah.
Come and have a seat on the table of chat. What's your favourite destination? Yes. We've only asked one person. We've got India. Vida, what's your favourite destination?
I think it's Indian too, because the fruit is very good.
Is
tasty,
Is that because we're hearing the Indian drumming, or is it? Okay, I'm just going to go around. Vicky, have you got a favourite place you'd like to visit?
My best place I've been to is Jamaica, which is why I'm enjoying my Jamaican lunch at the moment.
Okay, so you're fully Caribbean on the lunch. And Tim?
So if you'd asked me normally, I'd have said Italy, but I'm busy in Indonesian food, and it makes me want to go to Indonesia. I feel like that's the place for me now. I don't know what this drink is, but it's the best thing I've ever had.
Okay, what is it? Have you got any clues about what it might be?
It's got little floaty bits, it's got fruit, it's pink.
Right.
I think it's got some coconut. I don't know what it is, but it's like drinking a sweet.
Okay, it's like a pudding. Come on and join us, yeah! We have got Tim, we've got Vicky, we've got Vida, we've got Jessie, we've got Duncan, we've got Margot, and we've got... What's your name?
Grace.
Grace.
Yeah.
And my name's Mikey. At the moment we're talking about, and as Duncan brought it up, this idea that actually here in this festival, it's almost like going on a mini world tour. So, because there's so many cultures represented here, and it's like, where would you stop off on this particular world tour? Where would you actually go? What place would you drop off at? So far I've had India, Indonesia, and West Indies. So all of the places begin with Ind for some reason, although there are different places.
Maybe Japan. Yes,
Japan,
sushi.
yeah. Okay.
Sushi is very nice. Yeah.
And Waze, where would you like to stop off on your world tour?
From Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, okay. What has Hong Kong got to offer? What's that?
Lots of different food there as well.
Do you know Hong Kong?
I've been only been twice.
Oh, you've been there a couple of times, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You just go and search for the #1 restaurant.
Yeah, so it's good for food. David, have you got an opinion on this? Where would you stop off?
My opinion is limited because she's my wife.
Okay. All right, so your opinion is whatever Waze says.
That's right,
basically.
that's it.
Okay, so
well weighted.
Yeah, okay, right. So, okay. Well, that's an interesting question. Do couples always have to have the same opinion? What do people think? You mentioned your wife is from Trinidad. Have you ever disagreed with your wife about anything?
Yeah, we've sometimes had a difference of opinion.
Yeah.
But usually we meet in the middle or thereabouts.
Yeah. Okay, so is it about compromise, would you say?
It is about compromise and sometimes forgiveness and a bit of a humbleness and humility thrown in, I think. Yeah.
Eating a bit of humble pie. No one's eating humble pie today, though, at the lunch session of Talkioki. But I mean, have you ever? I'm going to ask you the question. Seeing as you seem to be the spokesperson for this relationship, have you ever had any disagreements with your husband? No. Okay. Official party line is no. All right. Come and have a seat on the table of chat. This is Talkioki. We're here at Rice and Spice. We have got Duncan. We have got Jesse. We have got Vida. We've got Waze. We've got Vicky. We've got Tim. We've got David. At the moment, we're just kind of working out what we're really doing here. What the point of this festival is, and it seems like it's about a world tour, but also we're talking about disagreements. Are you allowed to have a disagreement with your partner? Is it about compromise? Have we got too controversial now? Any thoughts on this side?
No, I think it's okay to have disagreements, but if you're in a relationship, then that's just a bit hard. But then if you're married, then maybe you have to make compromises. I don't quite know.
Is it different when you're married as to when you're just, I don't know, living together or just?
I mean, I wonder if people are from like different backgrounds and they're actively a couple or married.
Yeah.
I mean, to what extent is it like you're learning from one another and from one another's cultures? To what extent you have to flatten your culture to make it?
If you come and have a seat on the table of chat, this is Talkioki. We have got Tim, we've got Vicky, we have got Waze, we've got Vida, we've got Jesse, we've got Duncan, we've got Margot, and we've got...
Tony.
Was it?
Tony.
Was it? Tony. Tony. And basically at the moment we're talking about relationships, we're talking about if you come from different cultures, do you have to compromise? You're talking about, Duncan, your wife's from Trinidad and you felt that sometimes you have to meet in the middle. Can you give us a bit more on that?
Well, sometimes there'll be communication. Having good communication is always important. Never assume anything.
Yeah. Okay.
Because especially with different cultures, there might be different things,
there's different values,
etiquettes and things that I might seem okay, but can be quite offensive or rude in her culture.
Right. Okay. So cultural differences sometimes can cause problems. Tony, have you ever interacted with different cultures?
Not really.
What about today?
Yeah,
You've done a little bit today, because we've been saying it's a bit like a kind of world tour here today. We're kind of like experiencing different cultures, but maybe there'll be cultural differences. Anyone else got any experience of cultural differences?
Yeah, my first English boyfriend really didn't like me eating onions. I didn't understand why. Onions are a staple of Polish culture.
Right. What was the problem with the onions?
Just...
Yeah.
I don't know, but then I met somebody from Romania and sure, but it's a very healthy vegetable. It's got so much vitamin C.
Yeah.
Maybe in Poland we're just like used to it. Garlic and onion is like massive in our diet.
Okay, so a lot of garlic and onions.
Obviously it's an ex-boyfriend now, but...
Okay. So you couldn't reach a compromise. You couldn't sort of say, okay, I'll hold off on the onions, but I'll keep the garlic, or vice versa. That didn't work.
No. It was not negotiable.
Yeah. Tony, any views on garlic and onions? You're a big consumer of garlic and onion?
Not really.
Not really, okay. Anyone else here a consumer of garlic and onion quite a lot?
I love this. I love it because that's very healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that somebody is the nail for the nails not very good maybe.
Yeah.
They say together. What is
okay. So we might have to talk a little bit like this. A little bit.
But not only garlic is very nice. Okay, there's the breath thing, but garlic protects you against vampires. So when you get some so they won't arise
Is
from
that what
the
happened to your
vampire death. I don't
ex-boyfriend?
know.
They got attacked by a vampire.
It's very possible. No comment.
Yeah. Okay, so we're talking about vampires. I mean, maybe it'll be interesting to find out in different cultures. Are there things like are there vampires? I don't know where people are from. Are there British vampires, or they all come from Transylvania?
Believe it or not, while I was on duty, we had a sighting of the Beast of Essex.
Beast of Essex?
In Suffolk or Norfolk, I think it's called the Black Shuck.
Right.
But the Beast of Essex.
Yeah.
And probably not that surprising. We didn't find any black wild beast.
Okay, so you never found it. Doesn't mean it was there. Come and take a seat on the table of chat. At the moment, we're talking about mythical creatures from around the world. So far, we've heard about vampires. We've heard of the Beast of Essex. Grab a seat. Actually, could move that suit and just hang that up, because that was just in case. That's my formal wear, just in case it was a more formal do. But I don't need it in the end. You're going to sit next to the policeman. Do you feel safer over here? Do you feel safe? Is that what it is?
No, nothing to do with that. I just want to appreciate what the police do for everybody.
Well, apparently the police, as well as attending all kinds of emergencies, attend emergencies like the Beast of... What's it called? The Beast of...
The Beast of Essex.
The Beast of Essex. Have you heard of the Beast of Essex? No. They had to go out and look for the Beast of Essex, so there was a sighting for the Beast of Essex. Anyway, let's just get some names. We've got Tim, we've got Vicky, we've got Jessie, we've got Duncan. What's your name?
Jan.
Was it?
Jan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a bit loud here. And we've got Tony and...
Patrick.
Got that one. And my name's Mikey. So, have you heard of the Beast of Essex?
You're a bit too loud. Can you take that thing away from your mouth?
I'll turn it down. How about that?
Down. I mean,
and I'll turn you up.
I mean, you've got a very loud voice, haven't you, anyway?
That's true. But you need it for this job.
Yeah, absolutely.
You do need it. Have you heard of the Beast of Essex? No, I'm not talking about me, but have you heard about the Beast of Essex?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay. So we're talking about the Beast of Essex, we're talking about mythical creatures. Jessie, where are you from?
Malaysia.
Are there any mythical creatures in Malaysia?
I don't think so. If there is, I didn't know about it.
Don't know about it?
Don't know about it.
Right. And what about on this side? Where are you from?
Well, I'm from Belgium.
You're from Belgium? Mm-hmm. And do they have any mythical creatures in Belgium?
I'm not aware of any, special Belgian mythical creatures.
Yeah?
No. The Flemish?
Flemish, okay.
Yeah?
Where are you from, Vicky?
I'm from East London.
Are there any mythical creatures in East London?
Well, I'm on the verge of Essex, so there's Essex girls.
Okay, the Essex girls, okay. We've got to watch out for the Essex girls. Where are you from?
I'm from Poland.
Yeah,
I mean, there's loads. There's literally loads. There's there are creatures living in lakes, in swamps. There are stories around different villages. My mum, when she was a child, they knew that there's one path through their swamps that if you're really drunk and it's quite late, you will probably see some kind of ghost or something. So yeah, there's loads of stuff.
Okay, so there's quite a lot of. Have we got a cup?
I can't get one.
Okay, Jessie's going to go and get a cup. Let me open this for you. Okay, that's ready to go. So we've heard about the Beast of Essex. We've heard about the Polish swamp creature, the Essex girls. Nothing in Belgium, which surprises me. Not that you're aware.
There probably are some.
Maybe your parents kept it from you.
Yeah, maybe they were shielding.
Come and have a seat on the table of chat. Oh, I'm just gonna hang on. Come and have a seat. Don't worry, it's safe, and you can leave at any time. We have got Vicky, we've got Tim, we've got Patrick, we've got Tony, we have got Jan, we have got Duncan, we've got Margot. What's your name?
Oh, wow, it's all sorts.
What's your name?
Sia.
Sia. And what's your name?
I'm Rachel.
Rachel, thanks for coming to join this. At the moment we're talking about mythical creatures from around the world. We started talking about creatures from around the world. Can I ask you where you're from?
I'm from Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, yeah.
And where are you from?
I'm from first Colchester and then Kenya.
Okay. So, are there any mythical creatures from that part of the world? Like we've heard of vampires, the Beast of Essex, also the Essex Girl, I think that's something different to the Beast of Essex, and the swamp creature from Poland. Is there anything from Zimbabwe?
Yeah, actually, recently they've discovered the skeleton of a dinosaur in Zimbabwe. So yeah.
Yeah. So there were dinosaurs roaming around.
So Zimbabwe, the home of dinosaurs.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about where you're from? Is there any? Come a bit closer, 'cause you're a bit far away.
I have no idea, because that's we do safaris and we have quite a number of animals.
So you've got big animals anyway.
Oh yes, yeah. Simba, one of the things which you hear in what is it called? Lion King.
Mzuri sana.
Mzuri sana, and you hear Rafiki. Rafiki is about a friend,
yes,
and then you hear about what else do you hear? Hakuna Matata. That is us.
What does that mean?
No worries.
No worries, okay. It's definitely a Hakuna Matata vibe around here. But I mean, Jan, have you got any questions, any thoughts on this? Where do you want to take the conversation? Should we talk about, there's lots of different, we can talk about the global cuisine. One of the things that came up just before you joined is, do partners have to have the same opinion about everything, or can they have different opinions? Can they vary in their opinions about what they like, what they don't like?
I think it's very important that in a partnership you honour the right of your partner to have a different view from yourself. And I found that in my marriage, that very often, it gets to the point of a really severe disagreements, over something. But it's always open to negotiation and to listen to the other person and to make up your mind then. And we've lasted 60 years like that.
Well done, well done.
Okay, so you've done well.
Yeah.
I mean, did you ever have any disagreements based on cultural difference? Because Margot over here is from Poland, and she had a boyfriend who didn't like the amount of onions and garlic that she consumed. Have you ever had any cultural differences like that in your relationship?
I don't know. What do you think? Have we?
Patrick, let me come to you.
Well, Jan makes the most marvellous prawn curries. I like them, prawn curries, yes.
Okay, a prawn curry.
So he doesn't mind, he eats anything.
I mean, one of the things we've been talking about is different foods from around the world, and this is a bit like being on I mean, even around this table we've got people from all around the world. Come and join us. Don't worry, I can keep an eye, he said. I've got it. Bring the kids along as well. There's no age limit here on Talkie. We have got, let me do the names again. We've got Tony, we've got Patrick, we've got Tim, we've got Vicky, Sia, what's your name again, sorry?
Rachel.
Rachel, that's right. And Jesse and Duncan and Jan and Mikey. Come and join us. We're talking about there's a few different things. We're just kind of trying to warm up and find out where the interest is, and it's kind of up to you really to decide where you want to take this conversation. Do you want to talk about differences in relationships? Do you want to talk about going on a cultural journey? Do you want to talk about mythical beasts from around the world? It's kind of up to you.
Can I ask a question, Mike? So I'm talking about couples disagreeing. So I work for the hospice.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a chaplain there.
Okay, I'm going to hit you with a round of applause for that.
Thanks very much, I'll take it. And one of the conversations that I often have with couples is around planning things for the end of life, and particularly like things like funerals.
Yep.
And a question that comes up often is the funeral for the person who've died or for their family? And so the person who's died might want one thing, but their family might want another thing.
Can you give us an example just to help us?
Yeah, so for example, let's say if the person, so I had a conversation with somebody recently who isn't very religious, but their family is, and so they were saying we should have a religious funeral because my family are religious, but I'm not.
Yeah.
And I was kind of saying, well, if you are not, your family want to remember you as you were, and maybe you shouldn't, we shouldn't pretend to be something that we're not. But I don't know. It's a kind of open question. It'd be interesting to know what people think.
What do other people think about this poser that Tim's posed? Who, if someone's planning for a funeral, and I guess we should all plan for our funerals, who is it for? Is it for whom does the bell toll? Does it toll for thee, as the poet John Locke would say? You know, who should the funeral be for? The person that died, or the remaining people? Any thoughts on this? No.
Both. I don't think it's. You know. I mean, I think you have to decide what form of burial or cremation you want, because you've got to pay in for it over time.
Is it a kind of compromise again, do you think, in this case?
Well, I mean, I'm a religious. You know, my family are not.
Yeah. Oh right. Okay. So
you know, so they will go along with whatever I choose, because it's as they see it, it's to honour me, not and not them. You know, so they will accept whatever.
Can you say a little bit about what you're imagining a religious funeral, what kind of aspects it would have?
Well, I think I like very much the Quaker model, where there is a meeting and people can stand up and say things prayerfully about the person, and I think that's very respectful and honours people, and I very much like that model. You know, rather than some priest that you don't know from a bar of soap.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I do know what you mean. See, have you had any thoughts about your funeral or anyone in your family's funeral? Or is it something you've not really thought about?
Yeah, of course. I'm a believer. I'm a Christian, so it's gonna be a Christian funeral.
I mean, is there a particular kind of Zimbabwean version of a Christian funeral?
Not really. Christians are one. So it's really it's not like crying and mourning. It's a celebration of life.
Okay, so it's more about celebrating your life. Okay. I'm going to go around the table on this one. It's about. I guess there's a question about funeral traditions. Also, this thing about who is the funeral for. This kind of thing,
So in terms of who the funeral for?
Yeah, who's the funeral for? Come and have a. We're talking about funerals. Come and have a seat. Yes.
I think I'd rather not. I'm too near to that.
Give it a go. Give it a go. See how it goes. I mean, it's good.
Hold on. Hello. I'm 80. How are you? I'm 75 now.
Okay, you're just a youngster. Just a youngster. Where's the water? Let's have some more water for Patrick. Okay.
To the synagogue?
Yes. No. How old are you?
I'm 80.
80. Sorry.
Okay. Well, so you're just a youngster. Yes, you're just a youngster. So it's just a kind of abstract thing, I think. Any help with us on this one, Tim? What do you think about?
I was distracted by water. I missed with the conversation.
No, sorry. What's your name?
I'm Judith.
Judith. Judith feels that maybe this, the chat about a funeral is possibly a little bit too kind of close to the bone. Is that?
Let's say I've come sort of nearish to death a few times. Yeah. The NHS has saved me anyway.
That's for the NHS, and very pleased to hear that. So I guess.
I mean, I think my parents, just because they had me and my sister, I think that kind of made them think about what's going to happen if something happens to them. So they were paying like this life insurance. So should they require any additional medical care when they are not well, they were kind of like investing that money. And sometimes like we didn't have enough money to, for other things. We're like, no, we absolutely must pay this insurance because it's going to be crucial. And it was actually very helpful when my dad died. But I don't think he knew how his end of life is going to pan out. And I think this is one thing. You prepare for the worst, but like, what is the worst? Maybe, I think, for him it was just like really. So anyway,
I mean, do you need to save up? Are you saving up for death? That's what we're talking about here. Yeah, maybe not really, no. Well, come and join the conversation.
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
Yeah, and we, you know, I think it's important too to think ahead about the actual event itself.
Yeah.
Because we we were Quakers, and then I discovered I had Jewish heritage.
Right.
So now, you know, am I going to be buried as within the Quaker tradition, which appeals very much, because it's just like any meeting, any Quaker meeting, people stand up and say things about the person concerned, and it's really lovely, I think, for the relations to be in that sort of environment where they're upheld and they hear about things about their parents that they didn't know. You know,
the humanists do that beautifully. I've been, although one or two are not so good, but I've been. Most of my relatives have been cremated with humanist. How would you say it? You know, speakers, and they've gathered so much information and some very funny things, and we've sometimes been absolutely in stitches with lovely memories, you know, with humour.
So I guess humour can be useful in that situation. Humour.
Families.
Yeah. Okay. We've got a new face at the table. What's your? So what is your name?
Hi, my name is Laura, sir.
Laura, we have got Margot, we've got Tim, we have got Patrick, we have got Jan, we have got Duncan, we have got Jessie, and we have got Judith and Vicky and Mikey. I mean, where are we going? We're sort of talking about funerals, and that, you know, I actually like the idea of having a laugh, having a joke at a funeral, but how do people feel about that for their funeral? Would we want people to cry or laugh, a bit of both?
Is it a humanist burial or humorist burial?
A humorist? Could it be humorous? Yeah.
I have been to a funeral where I think people often like to choose the songs they have for their funeral, and the best one I ever heard was someone had Another One Bites the Dust when they went out. So yeah, I thought that was quite humorous.
That's quite. I mean, I don't know. I'm not really in the middle. I'm not really supposed to give my opinion, but I would want people to laugh at my funeral. Definitely have a laugh. I mean, if as a chaplain, I'm going to come to you in a second because Laura, who hasn't said anything yet, is going to say. But I've got a question for you.
I recently saw a video, I think on Instagram actually, from a funeral of a gentleman who made a like a voice tape that he wanted to be played while his coffin was going down, and it was basically his voice knocking on the inside of the coffin saying let me out, and he made everyone laugh afterwards. So it was like it showed how much thought he put into the whole ceremony. It was lovely.
Okay, so that worked. I mean, have you kind of, I don't know what you what is the person that runs if you run a funeral? I'll just say it like that. I don't know what the proper word is. Have you run funerals before? Yeah. And have there been some funny ones?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So there's, I mean, often they're a really mixed bag of sadness and missing the person, but also remembering all the good things about the person, including the funny bits and the quirky bits. And I think every funeral I've done has had laughs involved. You know, they're always sad, but they can be fun as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it can be an element of both. We're talking about. Have you ever been to a funny funeral?
I just had.
That's what we're talking about at the moment. It's funny funerals. Should funerals be funny? Come and join in. Yes, come take a seat. We've got some spare. Yeah, you can do it. Yes. If you're going, Vicky, give us a final thought for now.
I think my final thought would just be that I think it's really valuable to think about these things ahead of time for your families and that. So yeah.
Okay, so is it important to think about these things now? Hang on a sec, I want a final thought from both of you. Have you ever been to and what is a Malaysian funeral like as well?
Oh.
Is it funny?
It is very noisy. We have the wake, right? After Malaysian funeral, you don't want to be. The coffin is there, and then we have all the prayers. Very noisy, right? To scare off the spirit. Make a lot of noise and chanting and all that for about 3 days.
You're chanting for 3 days?
Yes. And then funeral day, all the drum and all that. To go to the cemetery, very noisy. Okay. A bit like the New Orleans.
Okay, it's a bit like New Orleans.
Cheers, we don't dance about.
New Orleans with a bit less dancing. Yeah. Okay. Final thought.
Yeah.
What's your final? Have you got a final thought? Have you been to a funny funeral? Have you been to a noisy funeral?
Funny funeral.
It's quite. I don't have idea. It's right or wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is it right?
It's right or wrong? I don't know.
Well, it's a good question. We can throw that out there. Is it right or wrong? Is it right or wrong? Yeah.
To the girls, I was just wondering. You said you're from Malaysia. Oh, you're from Malaysia. You're from not Malaysia. No, Hong Kong. I was just wondering, like, because obviously you live here. I mean, if it comes to it, would you be looking to a hospice for any support with your loved one dying, or is it something that's kind of like almost organised within your family? Community. Yeah, I was just wondering.
I suppose nowadays with the modern family, very busy, so I suppose if possible, just the Macmillan nurses come to help, I suppose.
Yeah.
There's, of course, I just lost a friend about a month ago.
Yeah.
They didn't want the father to go to any hospice, but just get the Macmillan nurses to come and help.
Okay.
You see?
Why did they not want to go to the hospice?
Well, we rather look after the people ourselves, the sick, yeah. Because when you go to all these places, they already got lots of work. If you're at home sitting there, you can help. That's what our tradition are like, yeah.
And what about in Hong Kong? Would you send a loved one to a hospice, or would you look after them at home?
Hospice?
Grab the mic.
Sorry, I don't, because I'm not very well English.
Okay, what is a hospice?
So a hospice is a place where we look after people who have palliative illnesses, so illnesses that they're not going to get better from. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not gonna, that they're going to die at the hospice, but we help people with symptom management, and often it's just to get a bit better so they can go home and carry on living their lives, and sometimes it's about planning nursing at home. So a lot of our work is at home in the community. We don't do it all in the building. We have nurses who look after patients at home as well. So it's whatever support people need when they've got a palliative illness, basically.
Okay, so would you get involved with that if you had a loved one?
Come with me.
That was very sick.
At home. Yeah. At home, come with me. At home.
You'd rather they came home?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. So I guess we're talking. Yeah.
My mother, in her, I was living in South Africa, so when my mother was dying, I came to England to be with her.
Yeah.
And the neighbours and everyone around was so supportive. It was incredible,
Yeah.
And the funeral was very respectful.
Yeah.
But I personally prefer the Quaker approach, which is just like any religious meeting of Quakers, when people can stand up and say their memories of that person. And I think that's a lovely way of remembering and honouring someone. I mean, that's what I would opt for.
Keep it simple, but to the point, to the heart as well.
Yeah, and within a community that knows you and has known you for years, I think that's important.
So that's really important, to be within that community that is familiar with you and that you're familiar. Thank you very much. I don't even know what language they speak in Malaysia. I'm supposed Malaysian, but how do you say thank you in Malaysian? We'll never know. We'll find out maybe later. Come and have a seat on the table of chat. This is Talkioki. We're talking about communities and how they look after their loved ones. Come on, I feel like this. You're sitting there. Come and join in. Come on. Come forward. We need you. Yeah. Come on. Let's give a round of applause to this person here. I'm loving the shirts. We're a little bit jealous of the shirt, I have to say. So we've got Patrick, we've got Jan, we've got Duncan, we've got Judith, we've got Laura, we've got Margot, we've got Tim. I'm Mikey. What's your name?
Rodney.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if could you hear what we were saying from over there? Have you got any views on this? What are you from a particular community?
Yeah, I'm from India. So we have I'm Christian, but then we have our own, like, I belong to a tribe, so we have our own kind of tribal rituals to it.
Right, okay.
So like basically, like we do burials and stuff, but then also we perform some other rituals with it. So like some of it are like using like pouring homemade liquor, like sacrifice, like, you know, in their honor and stuff like that. And then if it's the eldest, if the person was respected, then somebody from the family who is like the eldest, he'll do something to honor her, like in the grave, like put some bamboo sticks down and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, we have.
Is that from a particular part of India?
Yeah, it's called northeast of India. I'm from Assam.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Okay. That's really interesting. I mean, are you off, Patrick?
Yeah. Just the last word. If I could, I would have Woody Allen come to my funeral and make everybody laugh.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do our best. You know, I mean, see what happens. You know, if you couldn't get Woody Allen, you could get someone similar to Woody Allen to come and do some gags. But thanks for that. Jan, are you off as well? Give us a final thought before you go.
Yeah, I just want to be there when I die, you know, with my family and so on. I mean, that's my greatest wish, you know, rather than to be unconscious or something like that. And I wouldn't want to be on life support, you know, when I return, you know, I'm so incapacitated that I can't function properly. So for me, you know, I just like to die quietly at home in my bed.
So for you, being at home is important as well.
Thank you very
Thanks very much. It's great to hear your opinion. I mean, where do we want to take this to? We want to talk about different cultures and how they celebrate death, how they celebrate people really as well. Do you want to talk about this question about being inside of a community? How does that feel? I mean, you're here in Colchester. Do you feel kind of that you're surrounded by your community, or do you feel a little bit away from your community?
I mean, like, although I'm Indian, like, I have been born and brought up in a different way, so I don't. My Hindi is also not very good, so I converse in English. So all those things depend for me. So I mean, I have been living away from my home for quite some time, so I'm like used to not being in the community. But then that's all right.
Okay, we've got a new face over here. Tell us your name.
My name's Kalsuma.
Kalsuma, sorry. We've got Judith, we've got Duncan, we've got Rodney, we've got Tim, we've got Margot, and we've got Laura. At the moment we're talking about, in a way, I don't know if celebrate's the right word, but how different cultures celebrate their loved ones when they die, how they actually, you know, how they honour that person, but also how they look after that person as well, in different communities. Yeah, come and join us. 2 minutes. Yeah, you. It's all right. It's all right. It's okay. So that's what we're talking about at the moment. And we just. Duncan, give us a final thought.
Okay, well, as mentioned, my wife's from West Indies, so when she had a family member pass away, as both being Christians and believers, and so it was an open casket, and it was basically a celebration of her, of my wife's relative's life. And so it wasn't sad, there was a bit of tears, but it was just celebration. They've gone to a better place, and one day we might see them, and sort of that's it really. There's always hope.
I mean, what kind of celebration was it? Was it music?
Yeah, it was music. There was a bit of steel pan because obviously being Trinidad, and it was just a real happy occasion. A bit of laughter. I think that's been mentioned before. You know, the common theme. You know, we can be sad, we can mourn. There's a right time to mourn, but also we can sort of celebrate their life and celebrate that hope. You know that that's not the end. When our bodies give up on us, we've got that hope. So. Absolutely.
Nice. Well, thanks for that. Thanks for joining in. And say thanks to your colleagues as well for helping us move this stuff early on.
Thank you. Cheers. Nice to meet you.
All right. Have you got any? Before you go, have you got any thoughts on this? What community are you from?
I'm from Bangladesh, and I'm from Bangladesh, and I'm a Muslim.
Yeah. How do you, if a loved one passes away, how do you celebrate that? Is there a particular thing that you do? Or how does it
when our loved one dies, we have to bury them as soon as possible.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know about celebration. We pray for them to go to a better place and hope to meet them one day. Hopefully.
I mean, if you do it quickly, is there like another thing, like another sort of memorial later on?
Yeah, well, after we bury them, we feed everyone.
Right.
So we, you know, like in Christian, you have a wake. It's a bit like that, but you know, we do lots of prayers and feed people, feed the poor. We give to the poor a lot because we like after when someone dies, if we give to the poor, the dying gets the reward, if you know what I mean. If they're in any pain, you know, hopefully they're not in any pain.
That's a lovely smile.
I was just wondering, just because we were talking about that earlier, but I mean, if somebody, what's it like? If I mean, do you expect to look after people in the family when they're not well? When you know it's kind of like the closer to the end, is it like, as a community, you just kind of have to look after that person, or do people go to hospices, or is hospice just something that's a bit alien?
Funny you should say that because my brother-in-law died not long ago, and you know, our community do put people in hospice, but like with my sister, she was very young when she lost her husband, and we wanted to take him to hospice, but she didn't want to get in her head that he's dying. He died of brain cancer, and we thought hospice is the last place where you take people, and we were just holding on to that hope he'll still make it. But
it was about really accepting that.
We weren't expecting, you know, we just didn't want to know that he was passing, but we knew he was going to die. We got the choice to bring him home or take him to hospice, but we kept him in hospital. But now we wish that we brought him home or took him to hospice, because if you take someone to hospice, you can have more people around and just be around them. In hospital, you don't have that room, do you?
So you said something really important there, so I work for St Helena Hospice, and something that we aren't very good at communicating is that St Helena hospices in general they don't have to be the last place where someone goes. So we've got patients who've been working with us for years, and they go home, they come in for a few days, we treat their symptoms, and then they go home again. Some of them stay at home and we just go to support them at home. They never come into the building itself. So something we need to be better at, us the hospice, is communicating to people that we're here throughout the whole thing. It's not just at the very end. We're here to support throughout.
When my brother-in-law was having his treatment done, and my sister kept saying, hospice is the last place, isn't it, for you to go and die? And he actually said that, no, I've got someone who I go and see, and he comes, and he's been living for past 6 years. So yeah, so hospice people did come and see him at home. Yeah, they did come actually.
Got a label about hospices.
Yeah.
It's got that label as being final, even if people say this is not the final thing, people have that label.
Yeah, it is. Oh, sorry.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience, and you know, thanks for getting involved in this. But yeah, and we'll be here all day, so I don't know where the conversation's going to go. We'll find out, but come back later if you want to. But thanks so much for sharing that, and also Rodney, thanks also. I mean, we're going to keep this conversation going. Judith, have you got any views, any thoughts on what you've heard so far?
I'm thinking very much, even if one wants to be at home, that if the home is impractical, and mine definitely is, and my daughter's is totally impractical, you know, much too small, and you know, I mean, you need a good sort of environment that's going to be working for everybody. So on that basis, I would rather go into a hospice if the time came. But I'm actually agnostic, so I don't have any real belief as such, but I believe that, you know, we're all here to help each other as much as possible, but unfortunately society has made it so impossible for so many things to be.
I mean, doing this job, you certainly get that feeling that people actually do care for each other. They are interested in each other's lives. So why is it that we struggle so much to kind of, push that forward?
Well, personally, I put it down to bad government. That's one of my major grouses now. It's taking away humanity in so many different respects and making impossible for people who haven't originally got enough money to be able to be independent of earning, which makes it really, really difficult if somebody is trying to look after somebody. And my sister and brother-in-law down in London managed to find a really nice not retirement home, a care home for my mother in the last 6 months of her life. She wasn't obviously dying, but she was nearly 93 when she did die, and literally the last 6 months, because she couldn't exist in her own home. Nobody could actually go there. She actually had alienated quite a lot of us as well, but she spent the last 6 months actually very, very happy in the care home, but it cost a huge amount of money, and that had to come off the inheritance later on. That was in Richmond, if anybody knows it.
Richmond. Come and have a seat on the table of chat. Do you know Richmond? We're talking about this country. We've kind of decided we are nice people, but we still fail to care for people sometimes. Judith puts it down to the government. I don't know what other people think around here. Laura?
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask, because it's quite interesting subject in terms of just older people who maybe don't have family or don't have people that can take care of them, but also they don't have just financial status to pay for hospice. So like, are there any programs, or is government maybe doing anything to I don't know, support financially those people so they can go to the hospice and experience this just care from others?
Okay, so point from over here.
Yeah, so I find it bizarre, like the places I work, and I find few people like they are well past the retirement age, but they're still working. And then I know one person personally. He had a business for 30 years. Now he's about 75, but still can't retire, so he's still working at McDonald's. So I mean, like, that's a bit bizarre for me, for people out here who are like who don't have any family and nothing to, and they can't afford to go to a care home and stuff, and still working, and they're just living their life like that. And he was telling me one day that if he passes away while working or sitting in his car, nobody's gonna know. So that's just kind of sad.
Okay, so I guess, is it about not having any family, do you think? Is it
about not having any family, and also like I don't know, it's just I can't like wrap my head around it, like how can people still be working when they're 75 and still be looking for work out here? And it's pretty common out here. That's the thing that I can't get my head around.
Okay, come and have a seat on the table of chat. Yes, this is Talkioki. Moment we're talking about we're a kind of, we seem to be a nice country. Oh, you're off, Judith. Give us a final thought before you go.
Well, really, I think actually I've said really what I meant to, but I was saying to the lady sitting next to me earlier that when I went to India with my daughter a few years ago now, but I haven't got very good health, and we were there for a month, and I said to my daughter, actually, I really don't care what happens to my body. If I don't make it home again, then don't spend masses of money in trying to fly me home back to Britain. If I die in India, then I don't.
So be it,
do whatever you want, for me. Although I would like, if there's anything left of my body that's useful medically, I can't imagine. I'm 75 anyway. And it's disintegrated severely, but I would like it to be of use if possible. But so I wouldn't have minded an air burial up in Bhutan or whatever.
I thought they meant just toss you out of the aeroplane.
Well,
on the way home.
Well, And unfortunately, you know, that I might land in somebody's garden and give them a traumatic shock. That has happened in Richmond, actually, not intentionally, but with stowaways falling in the street.
Okay, falling out of aeroplanes. Yeah.
Yes, tragically.
So that's like a death and a burial all at once, in a way, isn't it?
I think it probably wasn't very pretty.
No. Okay, so but thanks for that, and it brings us an interesting thing, because you're from India, but do people actually go to different countries in order almost to kind of like end their life in a different country? How does that work? But thank you, Judith, for that, and thanks for getting involved in this, Margot.
Thank you. Like a burial tourism, like you've got dental tourism to Turkey or something like that. But
I have nothing against going to Switzerland if I really had to, but I think that those closest to one need not to fear any consequences legally. And also, why should one have to spend a huge amount of money, which I wouldn't have? I'd have to mortgage my house to do so. But I do know several people who subscribe to that idea. One has motor neurone disease, and my brother-in-law, I think that they certainly are sympathetic to it. He now has Alzheimer's. So we're all disintegrating, and if it is so horrible the end, I don't want to have to linger, you know, feeling that I'm unhappy with the very end. But I want people to be around me that I love.
So in a way, going to Switzerland, you could kind of curate your own end,
but you know, it's so clinical as an idea. You know, I would like to feel that, you know, I lived in the Netherlands for a long time, and the Dutch have very much more, I think, humanitarian ways of looking at this, you know. And there was a film once of a young girl who had some horrendously progressive disease, and they filmed it all the way through. That was in Amsterdam, where I used to live, and they filmed it all the way through to her death. And it was such a peaceful death, with all her family around her in their sitting room. You know, it was amazing. And I just thought, that's for me, if, you know, but unfortunately in this country it's not possible.
Okay. Well, that's a really good point that you've brought in there, Margot.
I mean, I kind of wonder, because like we're here with St Helena's Hospice, and I mean, obviously people don't want to, I mean, it's a hard subject to engage with, how you're going to pass away, but it is part of our life, and you just kind of made me think of not necessarily organised tours or trips, but why not? But the purpose of those will be to kind of get people together and just see what life is like in other countries, and maybe not necessarily go and pick your country of where you want to get buried. It's not about that, but you know, just an opportunity for people to reflect on their lives, because I think when you travel, you really do. When you're away from this kind of like busy lifestyle, like this guy that this breaks my heart, this story, but it's also it's not uncommon. So another thing I was just thinking, is there much happening with their hospice, and maybe not befriending services, but like, you know, tackling loneliness, because I think a lot of people are just so disconnected and so damn sad. And final thing, can hospice be rebranded hospice? It doesn't roll over.
Could it be a hospice rather than a hospice? We've got that Margot's that part of our branding team.
Sorry, just before I go, when you were talking about that sort of tourism and groups, I was thinking there's a new Japanese film out called 75, which actually I haven't been to see because it was just too close to the bone. But it's all about a futuristic type of society in a way, all sort of having the age of 75 as the sort of almost cut-off period by which time these elderly people are persuaded that they can all, each of them can take the opt-out at that age, so as not to carry on, which I found really frightening. You know, I mean, I still love being alive and doing many things, but you know, to have that sort of expectation of opting out to save the public money and so on, it's really frightening.
Well, maybe you could watch it next year when you're 76 and it's not so close to the bone. But it sounds like an interesting film anyway, and you've thrown a lot into this.
It has been at First Sight recently. I don't know if it's still showing, but yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I mean, thank you, Judith. I'm going to hit you with a round of applause. With so many different ways we can go, it's kind of up to you to decide where you want to go with this. I mean, there's a euthanasia chat. Do we think we should be allowed to end our own lives and kind of curate it in our own way? Yep.
Can I just answer just a super quick couple of questions? So, Laura, you talked about people paying for the hospice. No one pays for the hospice. The hospice is free. Anyone can come to the hospice. It's funded by the NHS and other private givers. It's a charity. So no one pays for the hospice. I'm having an ice cream delivery while I talk. Thank you so much.
Come and have a seat. Come and get involved in this. And why
Got to get a face painted.
That's fair enough. Well? Yeah. No, it's fine. I don't really want one. I'm just.
Thank you. Thanks for the ice cream.
Just trying to stir up some controversy.
Thanks, Annabelle Latter, for the ice cream.
Yeah.
And what was Margot saying? Oh yeah, about befriending services. Yeah, so we work in partnership with other charities for exactly that, for lots of people who are lonely at the end of lives. And me and my team go out and support people in the community, but we also work with other charities. It used to be called Age Concern. Age Well East, they have a befriending service that we work with, just so people can sit and have some company when they're at home by themselves. So just a couple of questions
answered. A lot going on. Well, thank you for that, Tim. So come and have a seat on the table of chat. This is Talkie Pop-Up Talk Show, where you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Probably for the reason that we've got Tim here from St Helena Hospice. We've been talking a lot around different cultures and their relationship with dying. We're looking after older people. What about those lonely people that maybe don't get cared for because they don't have, not everyone's got relatives. So there's lots of different ways. We just heard from Judith that was talking about kind of organising your own passing away with going to Switzerland. So there's a few different things. What's your name?
Emma.
Emma, welcome. We've got Margot, we have got Rodney, we've got Tim, we've got Laura. This is Talkie Pop Talk Show. Laura.
I have actually a follow-up question because I think it's a big misconception then that people, I guess, I always thought that hospice is a place that you kind of, you have to have money to get into it. I didn't know it was founded by NHS. But also then, do you have like a long line of people waiting, so you have to sign up? I don't know. Do I need to sign up now to like make sure that I have a good space in the future? How does it work?
So there's lots of different ways into the hospice. So people get referred by their GPs, by their hospitals. People can also self-refer. Just call us and say that they'd like to come on board. Then there's different ways in which we get involved. So for some people, we look after them at home for years and years and years, and they're able to live independent lives. And generally, the actual coming into the hospice building is for people with very acute symptoms who need some help managing it, and they'll be in for a few days, see doctors, see nurses, and get better and go home. And some people choose to end their lives at the hospice as well. But there's a whole funnel really before you get to the.
It's like the mycelium and the mushroom.
Yes, I like that. Yeah.
Beneath the surface, we've got some new faces at the table. We have got Laura. We have got Tim. We've got Rodney. We have got Margot. We've got Emma. Tell us your name.
Chip.
And.
You know me. I'm Claire.
Yes.
I'm Broa.
Yes. And I'm Mikey. This is Talkie. And last time I saw you, you were a little bit smaller. But anyway, it's not important right now. We're talking about death and dying and what different cultures do when they're. I mean, we're here with St Helena Hospice. We've got Tim from St Helena Hospice, is the chaplain at St Helena Hospice. We've got Rodney, who's from Assam in India, where they have a totally different sort of ritual around death. Margot from Poland, and that's kind of it. You may well know Talkie can go in any direction. We're kind of on a death thing right now.
I'm a little shocked that we're all dying. I think you could have broken that a little bit more subtly, a little easier.
Well, maybe we can ask Tim, do you ever have to break news like that someone's dying or that we all have to die? And how do you break the news?
No. By the time people get to the hospice, they're already aware of their diagnosis. So but luckily, I don't have to do that.
You don't have to do that. I mean, Bro has just found out now, but it's a bit of a heavy kind of blow. Is there an easier way to tell people that? And what about younger people? How do we tell them? How do we let them know that they're going to be dead one day?
Well, there is something about. I mean, death is universal, right? Like we'll all experience it at some point in our lives, and so the key is to talk about it before it happens. To debunk some of the myths, to become a little bit more comfortable with it. So if we save the conversations for the crisis point, then the conversations are big and scary and overwhelming. But if we start talking about it now, before the crisis point, recognizing it's something that we all share and it's a part of life, and actually it can be peaceful and beautiful. That helps to maybe demystify it a little bit.
Okay.
Sorry. Death is always about the people left behind, right?
Yeah.
The process for the person actually doing the dying is reasonably straightforward, scary, and all the rest of it. But the actual ongoing legacy of that passing is for the people around them. But presumably hospice is very much focused on making that an environment for those people to say goodbye, right? And feel comfortable with that process as much as they can.
I mean, does it help talking about death at an earlier age? Chips? Margot?
Yeah, but that's a good point. And I think, like, how do you tell younger people about it? I mean, there's sex ed at schools. Is there death ed?
Should there be a death education at school? As a representative youngest person here on the table.
Chip has left school.
You've left school. I can't believe you've left school. But anyway, when did you first? Have you talked about death? If so,
I think I have. However, my memory is terrible, so I don't have any recollection of that.
Yeah. Okay. Is it something you wouldn't want to dwell on?
Not particularly.
Yeah.
I think I've mostly feel about death now.
Yeah. Okay.
I remember when you first found out about it, and you just kept bursting into tears. It was actually really sad. You're like, no, don't talk about this, because you figured it out. If people are born, then people also die, and you were only about 4, and it was really sad that Chip had this sort of epiphany. I hadn't explained it to you.
I mean,
you just figured it out.
Was it worthwhile?
I figured out that on my own.
You did. You just suddenly became aware of it. And what I wanted to say though was my family are all from Ireland, and the approach to Ireland to death is so different to here. And you go to Ireland, and the funeral, like it's a bit like a kind of Muslim funeral where it happens within 3 days. So you've got to rush over there like as fast as possible. The coffin is laid out open in the living room, and everyone just comes around for tea. And everyone has cups of tea or alcohol, but normally it's tea. It's quite a civil affair, and you just talk about the person, go and look at them, say how beautiful they are. They're very different. Whereas here, it's don't talk about it.
Right.
Have the funeral 3 weeks later, and then don't talk about it again.
So you don't keep people in the fridge for 3 weeks. You just bang, done. That's how Ryanair makes its money.
And you see the person lying there, so you address it. You can't ignore it. You can't pretend it hasn't happened. You just they're there, and it's all fine. It's
okay. I'm going to say we've got a new face over here. Tell us your name.
Oh, my name is Aisha.
Aisha.
Yes.
We've got Margot, we've got Emma, we've got Chip, we've got Claire, we've got Barbara, we've got Laura, we've got Tim, we've got Rodney and Mikey. At the moment we're talking about how different cultures approach the death. And is it worth talking to young people about death? Or is it going to blow their minds? Tim says that earlier you talk about it, the less it's a big deal later on. Emma, but you're saying you're from Ireland. Rodney, did you have something to say? Sorry.
No, I just feel like even in our custom that we have like 3 days to bury them. So when 2 years back when my grandmom died, it was just so fast. I don't think it allows you to process. Like you just see them in the casket, and then they are buried the next day, and then what happens after that. So I think that's why people are a bit more weird about death, because they, I feel like if you have a bit longer to process, and then you can cry about it and you can grieve for them. But then when it's so fast that you have to arrange for the funeral, you have to arrange for like
it's more about logistics than
actually
emotional
processing
experience.
what happens.
Okay, so you're saying in a way maybe the 3-day thing isn't such a great thing. Aisha, I'll bring you in, and just come in whenever you want to. I mean, we're talking about how different cultures do it, and the pros and cons. Emma, you're from Ireland as well. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I prefer it to be quick. And the 3 days, and then but everybody is there to celebrate the life of the person and remember who they were, what they've done. And it's very calming. I think. Whereas here, you could be waiting 3-4 weeks before.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. It's a long time for someone who's just lost someone.
Yeah.
Because you're left in limbo, or you feel like you're left in limbo.
Okay, so for you, it's not the same. It's not a processing time. It's a limbo. Aisha, have you got any views on this? Have you? What culture are you from, if you don't mind me
Okay, so I'm from India. Yes, and in my culture, like when person dies, they like if some of their close relatives are not there, they just wait for it, and if they are they're out of country, they are just waiting for the person and the relatives who are coming, and they and after 1 or 2 days they do all the stuff process, like
so they
funeral process and all.
So they still do it quite quickly then.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And in COVID-19, there is a war situation. Like we can't see even the face of the dead bodies as well, and they directly discharged from the hospital. And
so that affected you quite a lot.
Yes,
the COVID situation. Okay. Well, that's a new thing that we brought in. It's kind of up to you where you want to go with this conversation. Do we want to talk? We can move on, talk about COVID. We can talk about young people and death. We can talk about funerals. What makes a good funeral? Can we kind of almost like a sort of a buffet, select different elements from different cultures, a bit like you can select different foodstuffs here at the Rice and Spice Festival? Have you got any views on this? Have you? What's that? What does it say?
You robbed the bank.
I can't read what it says.
It says you robbed the bank.
You robbed a bank? Oh, wow. I robbed a bank. Okay. Emma, give us a final thought before you go. Give us a final. Okay, that's the final thought. Right, so, I mean, do you have to rob a bank to pay for a funeral?
I mean, has anyone ever had to...
Let's get a final thought from Rodney. Thanks. What are you doing over there as well? Can you just say?
Yeah, so we are from Community 360. So we are a volunteer organization. So you can come in, like you said, loneliness and stuff. So people can come to our hub, which is right nearby. It's near Savers. So we have different programs throughout the week. So you can come in, have there is friendship meeting where you can just come in and talk to anybody you want. Sometimes there is police as well. You can talk to them about any problems that you have, and then there are various other groups that you can take part in. There is embroidery and stitching and all those things, so you can do all that.
Okay, so come along to Community 360. Thanks as well, Rodney, for coming and getting involved. We'll have a look at your stall.
We're going to head off now, I'm so sorry, Mikey. We're still in Colchester. Come and see us anytime you like.
Yeah, well, we're here. It took us 4 hours to get here, though, actually, on the A12. Yeah, we've got those.
It's no fun.
Anyway, have you got a final thought?
Yeah, the A12 is like a really slow death.
It's a very, very long funeral procession. Okay, Chip, have you got a final thought?
No.
Anything? What are you gonna? Where are you going next?
Rice and Spice, aren't you? Chip's looking for more rice and spice.
More rice. Is there not enough rice and spice in the rice at the rice? More rice. Claire?
There's almost certainly enough.
There's almost certainly enough. Okay. Claire, give us a final thought for now. You come back. We're here all day, so do come back later. Yeah.
No, well, I've been volunteering with the Indonesians, and I'm very tired now, so I'm probably not staying for the rest of the day. Oh, is it? Yeah, so nice. I will. Yeah.
It's the best drink I've ever had. That pink drink with the frog spawn in it.
Yeah.
It's so good. Is that what it is? I don't know. Yeah, look at that frog spawn, but it tasted really good. Yeah.
Vegan, but
okay.
Never mind. But yeah, thank you. Lovely.
If you don't know that it's made from animal products, then it's okay. Yeah. Come and have a seat on us. Yes. Come and have a seat. Yes, all of you. Yes. Come over. Yes. This is Talkie Pop-Up Talk Show. My name's Mikey. We got Tim. We got Vicky. We got Margot. What's your name?
Valerie.
And
Joyce.
And
Jane.
Jane, I'm going to hit you a round of applause. This is Talkie Pop-Up Talk Show. We're talking about loads of different things here. It's a kind of free-form talkie conversation. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Right now, a lot of the chat, I think it's down to you, Tim. A lot of the chat has been about funerals. It's been about death. It's been about how different cultures celebrate their loved ones, really, and how they look after them as well. Because we've found out some cultures are much more like they keep if they've got a sick person, they keep them really in the house. They won't let go of them. So there's some of these things, but you can take it any direction you want to take it in. Yeah, Tim. I'm gonna go to Tim first, just so you've got time to warm up to get into the flow. Tim, say some words.
Oh. Yeah. No, I haven't got any words to say.
What people...
well, so earlier on we were talking about how long it takes between a person dying and their funeral, and I was saying that can be that period, because it can be quite long here in this country. That period can often be a really awkward time for people because they want to grieve, but they're so busy with planning funerals and talking to priests and funeral directors and that kind of stuff that it can be a really tricky time. So I think the cultures who were here earlier on, who talked about doing it quite quickly, I think we've got stuff to learn from that.
Because some people were saying that's too fast. It's too fast. It's too hectic. It's all about logistics and not all about the emotions. Other people were saying, no, that's good. Let's do this. Let's make it happen. Let's celebrate. Come, people with phones, come and participate. That's what it's about. Come and participate. Yeah, come on.
Everyone's culture is different. I'm from Nigeria, and where I come from.
Hang on. I say you're from.
I'm from Nigeria, originally from Nigeria.
So, just giving a big up for Nigeria.
Yeah!
What are they doing in Nigeria?
So we have different cultures. When people get old and they're ill, we tend to keep them at home. They're not allowed to go into residential homes and things like that. So when I moved over here, it was a very scary thing for me because I wasn't used to that sort of thing, going to visit people in the old people's home. We keep them at home, we nurse them until they pass away. And we have different cultures. My culture is very elaborate.
What is your culture?
We celebrate people. I'm from the Kalabari culture in River State. That's the southern part of Nigeria. Very, very cultural. And we actually celebrate. We have like a 3-day celebration to put them to rest.
And what happens in that celebration?
So many things. I'm going to show you some lovely pictures in a minute, so you can see. Because last year I lost my mother-in-law, so I had to go with the whole family. Because we are also from a royal family. We had to dress up with the culture. So we had to dress up in a very rich culture. What happened with my mother-in-law's funeral? She has 7 children. All the 7 families would have to come out in the cultural clothes, the beads and the hearts and all of that, just to send her off. So it's literally partying all over the town.
So it's about as big a party as you can get.
Absolutely. Especially when she had great-grandchildren as well. So you have all the generation of children dressed in a particular traditional wear.
What is that wear?
It's called India. Angrasu and Kalali. Those are
India, Grasu and Kalali.
Woo! Look, you said that right.
And can I ask, are you from the same culture, or you just know about it because you heard the noise coming from?
No, I'm from Kenya.
Okay.
And
but
again,
you can hear the noise all the way across the whole of Africa.
Definitely, I think African continent is kind of similar, but in different tradition, different cultures. I think in my tribe in Kenya, Luo tribe. So that's where we have all the brainies like Obama and Lupita and all of them.
All the brainy people.
I'm from Lake Victoria. And when we do the same, we have like 3 days when we celebrate someone is died, and it's all dancing, it's all food. So it's more like a wedding. We see it as a wedding. So we don't see it like we are burying somebody's dead. It's more like celebrating their life, and it's more for those who are living than the person that is dead. It's all about celebration, dancing, eating, dancing, and again it's 3 days. And we're not afraid of dead people. We like to dress them up.
Are we a bit afraid of dead people in the UK?
Very much so, because my husband is English, and when he came to Kenya, I think it was his first time for him to experience a dead person.
And he was a bit freaked out.
It was because in his mind it was like, I want to remember her the way she was before. For us, we want to continue to celebrate them even when they're dead. And so we don't differentiate whether they're dead or they're alive. We still want to celebrate them until we bury them. But it's a celebration, and we dance, and when we look, it's a funeral. We don't look forward to. It's not about crying. There's a time for crying, but even the crying, I think it's all about celebration.
When does the crying happen?
I think that it's more when we remove the body from the mortuary, because we take the mortuary to the house and we have them at home for 3 nights. And so it's when we are removing the body, and even in the crying. It's all about celebration. It's more like ululation. You know, it's all about celebrating the person. Everyone knowing in the town that the person is gone, but it's very much of a celebrating the person's life.
Okay, well, that's really great to hear, and maybe we can learn something from that. Come on over, come over, have a chat. We've got Tim, we've got Vicky, Valerie. Valerie, and what's your name? Joyce, and Margot and Mikey. What's your name?
Nira.
And come over, come and join in on this. We're talking about, at the moment, we're talking about, are we afraid of dead bodies and dead people in the UK? Are we a bit like, ooh?
So it depends on the community, obviously, because different communities got different traditions, different approaches to death and what happens before and after death, in terms of grieving, mourning, community, all of that. So
And what about the culture that you're from? Do you feel that they're a bit more in touch with death?
Yeah, so I'm from the Gujarati Indian community. And we...
Hang on, we got... I want to get a final thought from both of you before you go. Sorry.
That's fine. So death is a part of life for us. You know, we live in extended family communities generally. You know, you're always going to know somebody that's passed away. We have whole big prayer meetings and things. So it's very much part of life. We have certain rituals. We have prayer meetings.
So because one of the things we were talking about before is that we're not really preparing people for death in, let's say, mainstream UK culture. We're not actually talking about it enough. But maybe we could learn a little bit from the Gujarati community and the Nigerian and the Kenyan. Let's get a final thought from both of you before you go. Give us a final thought.
Representing Masai. Masai is in the house.
Okay. All right. We already learned something from. We had another Kenyan lady earlier on, and we learned some phrases such as Hakuna Matata and Nzuri Sana, Habari Gani.
Nzuri Sana, Jambo.
Jambo Bwana. Anyway, no singing. Anyway, let's get a final thought from you, Joyce, before you go.
I think that in this country they really need to appreciate older people. The way they take care of them, the way there's no respect for older people. There should be respect for older people. They've cared for people all their life. And in Kenya we don't take people into a home very quickly. Here you're very fast to chuck people out when you think that they're burdened. We take care of people, we nurse our people, and I think there should be a respect for older people. And that's my vote.
Is it down to a lack of respect for older people? That's what Joyce says. Final thought, Valerie?
I just think we need to love the older people, really. There's no need to take them into a home. And what I have found in my journey in this country is a generational thing. So the mother is in the home, then the daughter goes into the home, and then the grandchildren, because they grow up seeing that that's the trend. It carries on. We need to stop it at some point so we can have our elderly in the home for them to die peacefully in the arms of their family.
I just quickly realized, the way we do it at home, our older people tend to live longer because when they grow up with the grandchildren, they play with the grandchildren. They are in communal area. We talk with people, speak. Here they kind of like left on their own most of the time. They're sad. They don't have a lot of people to talk to. And I think when they interact with a younger generation, it keeps them to live longer.
They almost feed off of the young people.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so we actually need to expose our old people to younger people,
or
vice versa. And I wonder why we're not doing that.
And the wisdom, the older people have got so much wisdom that they should pass to the younger generation. You know, it used to be the older people telling the younger generation what to do. Now it's the older people asking, can you help me with IT or things like that. But I think there's so much wisdom in older generation that the younger people should tap in, that they're missing on.
Why are we not doing this in this country? What's going on? Why do you think we're not doing it? Is it just because we got into this pattern?
I think it's a cultural thing. You've got in the pattern. And this is how things are. That's how things have always been done. And I think they should be, I think they've done even an experience one time in Channel 4. I think they were taking younger people, children into old people's home. And the impact that had on older people, you know, with things like dementia and things like that. I think when they interact with the younger, especially the children, they're playing around with the children, they're talking to the children. Because children don't care, they don't know if somebody's older. They just want to talk to them like their age, but they don't care.
Like the kids we had just now.
And it changes the pattern, it keeps them younger. It's it's something they've done. It's a research that has been done. Come on, Britain, let's get it. Let's start respecting older people.
Yes. Hang on, there's a question for you, Britta, before you go.
If somebody say further family or somebody from your community said, guys, I thought about it, I'm gonna send my mum to hospice, what would you think?
Would they be greeted positively if somebody from a Kenyan community or Nigeria?
No. First of all, that would be a rare thing. I work in the community. I work for the African families in the UK, and I will rarely hear anybody saying about.
But why would they not do that?
Because it's not in our culture. First of all, the way the homesteads are built, we all live together with the younger and the older generation. It's always been like that. We need in a village together.
So it's about architecture.
It's about the way that the families are designed. That we all live together, younger and older generation, and that's always ever been. And if there's any African person hearing me, don't even think about it. You know.
You will be isolated.
You will be isolated.
Oh, now we've got
So I'd just like to add a caveat to all of that. I completely agree. All the things about community and everything.
Hang on, Nira. I just want to get final thought from. Let me get a final thought from you, Valerie. You didn't. You need to beat Joyce's huge final thought. So pressure is on.
No. Can I ask you? So if the situation is in your family and someone is not well and you have to look after it, are you expected just to know how to do it and just like have strength and knowledge how to do it? Do you ever get support, or is it like
So we, as an African culture, we are always very supportive. If we have one grandmother in the family, is everybody's grandmother. So we all do things together. You are never left on your own. So you will never even have the thought of wanting to send your loved one into a home. It's just not our culture. And you will not even feel comfortable in doing that. The worst that can happen is you will get help. Somebody will help you make it happen for the grandparents to live at home with all of us, because it's a cultural thing.
I think we're very much of a community-based culture. I think we're very much of a community-based culture. Anything happening, even raising a child, the whole community market.
Okay, so the whole community gets involved. Nira, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. So it's the same for the Indian community, and I was born in Kenya, so I've seen African community as well. But I would just like to add a caveat that as well as community being really important and being able to look after family in our home and get support, there's no shame in sending a relative or somebody to a home or a hospice or somewhere where they're going to be cared for properly, because we don't always have the tools, we don't always have the knowledge. It's not always easy in our homes, and I think there's definitely a stigma in ethnic minority communities sometimes about putting people into homes, and it's seen as a failure. It's also adds on to, generally it's usually women's work to look after the family and the home.
I mean, what's the answer to that? To communicate it better to those, to the wider family. Look, we need to put our loved one into a hospice.
I think it's just being open to expert advice and support, and actually acknowledging that we don't have all the answers. And as my friend Eleanor pointed out, it's also difficult to always keep someone at home when everybody needs to be working. Like economically, it's not always the easiest thing to do.
It can be a big drain, and I think you were saying it's mostly the women doing it, and they're probably quite busy already.
And then to add on to that, from another perspective, a lot of people that we have in the care sector tend to be from ethnic minorities, so they are already supporting plenty of people that need that care and support.
So they know about how to care for people, they know how the system, it's not that they don't know how the system works, it's more about the
Sometimes
culture.
I just think there's so much to consider. Like, I don't think it should be shameful, but I do think we should promote community more, even locally. Get to know your neighbours, get to know people, invite older people, speak to people.
Okay, we've got new faces. Let's just get your name.
Eleanor.
Just say your name.
Eleanor.
Eleanor, we knew that, but that's just part of the process. We had Vicky, we've got Nira, we've got Margot, we've got Tim, we've got Laura and Mikey. When we're talking about, in a way, it's about the, I don't want to say stigma, but a reluctance maybe in ethnic minority families to send their loved one to a hospice or even to a care home, or even, I don't know, a hospital maybe as well. And it kind of maybe not so much from you, but from the girls, I was getting this sense that it's kind of almost like you're not doing your job properly if you send someone away. So that's what we're talking about at the moment. Tim, have you got any thoughts on that? Or Laura, you've got some thoughts?
I was thinking how I really like this idea of like one's grandma is everyone's grandma. It's similar with like you know, kind of it takes a whole village to raise a child. It takes a whole village to take care of an elderly. But this is in an ideal world again. I think the reality is that a lot of people is very lonely and they don't have that support group. But maybe we should go back to kind of focusing on building our community this way, you know, and maybe
lost that a little bit. Do you think?
Yes, and I'm thinking how this could implement hospice as a part of this community, that it doesn't feel like something that's outside of
outside,
but
that's a
it's
really good point.
maybe it's the core or just a big part of it.
Okay, I'm going to come to you in a second. But
sorry, I'll go in a minute. But
we don't want him to go. We want him to stay.
I need to eat some food.
Come and bring it over here. Here.
Well, I just wanted to add that I absolutely agree with Laura about being able to build the infrastructure and the capability for people to stay within the community and support each other. But alongside that, it is about the infrastructure. So having more local transport links, making things easier, especially for people who don't drive, people who like economically are worse off, women, you know, there's a lot of...
Can you have a bus that goes around picking up people to take them into the hospital?
Yeah, so there are different like community groups. So you've got things like, you know, the Bangladeshi Women's Association or the Chinese Cultural Association, and all these kind of places, they have community groups, and it's not just for ethnic minorities. You know, you've got youth groups, you've got
so they're quite open as well, actually.
Yeah, but if people don't know about them or people don't volunteer in the community to take people, then
so in a way it's a bit about communication as well. We've got some talking about communication. We've got some new faces at the table. Tell us your name.
Casper.
And
Sarah.
We've got Margot, we've got Eleanor, we've got Nero, we've got Tim, we've got Laura and Mikey. At the moment we're sort of talking, we've had a lot of people from around the world that have settled here in Colchester, and one of the things they're saying is that they're a little bit shocked about how, you know, people send their... I want to find a thought from you before you go, but let me just do this intro for these people. What was it again? It was Casper and Sarah. So we're talking about, can we learn from these communities about looking after our older people more? They're saying actually we should bring our older people more into the community, get them, exposing them to kids and young people more, do a bit more for them, and also, you know, kind of make things like, because we've got Tim here from St Helena Hospice, make things like that more part of their community as well, by making it more accessible. That's what we're talking about at the moment. I mean, do you agree with that conjecture that in the UK we're maybe a little bit bad at looking after old people, or exposing them? That's what we're talking about. Sarah, it looks like you want to say something.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think, I feel like there's a big separation between like the fast-paced sort of rush of getting through life, and then you've got like the older generation who are just sort of happy and settled and content, and so we think because they're content that we can just leave them, but that's not including them anyway. That's sort of just thinking, right, they're done now, but they're not, you know, they're still alive and thriving. They've got a lot to teach us.
Yeah, they've got a lot to give. I mean, it's interesting, you talk about the fast pace of life and you've got a lot to give. I mean, do you agree with that? Older people have got a lot to give, and what have they got to give?
Yeah, so I work in a pub and we get quite a few old people, and there's one in particular, and he's like very creative, and so he likes to show us what he like does for his work, and I think it's awesome because like he's so creative.
What kind of things does he do?
He works with like small theatres, and he does like their props. Like he made a massive cow, a giraffe head. It was awesome. Like he's so creative.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe we're undervaluing old people a little bit. Are you off, Nero? Are you going to hang on in there for a little bit?
No, I think we're off.
Okay, well, I want a final thought from both of you. You do your one first. That'll help Eleanor a little
So
bit.
obviously we've gone over a few different topics whilst we've been here, but I think the key is just more communication, because the more you talk to people that are different from yourself, the more you can learn, whether it's older people, whether it's ethnic minorities, whether it's LGBTQ plus people, you know, whoever it is, there's something you can learn from everyone, and that's how we'll break down barriers and prejudice, and we're all in this together, as silly as it may sound. But,
okay, that's a good one. So more communication. We will have a chat about that and find out what it is. Is it communication in the pub? Is it communication? Is it like travel communication? Come and join us. Yes. Eleanor, final thought.
I don't think I can top that.
You don't have to top it. Just anything that you add will top it. Just in the fact that it's coming next. You know, it's like the icing on the cherry on the cake.
I suppose you've got to say, along with all the community things and all the prejudice and all the things that you're trying to work against, there's only so much you can do if everyone that you would like to come and do the work and be the active person in the community is rushed off their feet doing work and housework and trying to care for themselves.
Are we a bit overstretched? Because you talked about rushing around a lot.
I mean, communities used to be very much sort of village oriented. You'd live with multiple generations in a house for a long time. Then we had an economic boom and everyone moved out and everyone's separated, and now it's considered like you can take care of yourself, which you used to be able to do. And we need to be able to look back and sort of move into our communities again if we need to, and maybe that will help us move closer with everything else.
Okay, well I think that's an excellent final thought. I'd definitely have a round of applause for that. So that's some good food for thought for us. Where are we going to take this conversation? Are we going to talk about this question that you mentioned, Sarah, about the time that people have got and young people are rushing around? Is that something that's actually stopping us from, you know, from paying more attention to people that are maybe moving a bit slower? But it's up to you, Tokyo. You can go wherever you want to go. Sarah?
I can go.
I thought you had your hand up, but you're just playing with your hair.
I was just playing with my hair, but I can talk.
No, I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna come over to Tim because you've not said anything for ages, which is unlike you. So, any reflections of what you've heard just now?
Yeah, I mean the pace of life thing, that's really good, isn't it? I think that's really important, and we live, I think, in a society that tells us if we're not busy, we're not important, and especially once people are retired or too unwell to work, they get kind of shut away behind closed doors because there's a kind of almost a subconscious narrative that they're not contributing to society, and the idea that actually you can contribute by slowing down and having conversations with people in pubs, and actually that's really important, maybe more important than being super busy and stressed all the time. I think that's really valid.
I mean, are you a kind of community worker, really, Casper, talking to people in pubs, and not just old people, but anyone? Do you? I mean, is that part of your job, the chat, the chit chat?
Well, mainly in my pub at the moment, I'm doing tons of opening shifts, so I'm like working from 10 till like 6. So I get like the cool time when everyone's at school.
So it's mainly a bit slower.
Yeah, much more slower. So I definitely get the time and opportunity to talk to people. Obviously, some of them like to be a little bit more reserved, but the ones who are like very open, they love to show us like what they're doing and stuff. And I think it's just interesting.
So actually you're doing in a way quite an important job, not just pouring the beers, but having the conversation as well.
Is there a pub in the hospice? I was just wondering if people wanted to be like, you know what, it's been a tough day. I'd like to have a drink.
I mean, that sounds like a good idea to me.
There isn't a pub. We have got like a dining room area where staff and patients can eat, but no pub, sadly. Although we do have alcohol. We got gin and tonic and that kind of stuff.
You've got some G&Ts.
Yeah. We just need Casper to come man the bar for us.
But I think Casper's doing just as important a job, chatting to the people, and maybe that's undervalued, the chat side of your job, as opposed to the taking the money and pouring the pints. Where do we want to go with this conversation? Do we want to talk about setting up a pub? Where do we want to go with this?
No, but I mean, like, I just wonder what, like, has anyone ever learned something from an older person? That's it, you know, because as you were saying, people have got skills to pass on. Are you turning the mirror
onto you?
I think from my granddad, I learned, okay, it's not a specific skill, but I just learned to chill out. Or like, you know, the chilling out is like, it's always... It's a specific skill, like maybe it's not like, oh, he did woodwork and then he passed on this skill. It wasn't that. I think you've got some cake on your microphone.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to avoid.
Yeah, well, it didn't work.
I failed.
No, but I think like the skill of chilling out is a big one, and my granddad was always just like, you know, it doesn't matter. And I was like, oh, what do you mean it doesn't matter?
Why did he say it doesn't matter like that?
I think he had just that perspective, and it's like the things that I was stressed about as a young person, from his perspective, it's just like, man, it's gonna change. It's not that deep. Just move on.
What kind of things were you stressed about, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't know, like when I was younger there was school, or like not getting on with my parents and that kind of stuff, and I actually was quite surprised that my granddad was like much more relaxed than my parents, so like less, you know, what's the word, less... Yeah,
angry.
Like he didn't care if you didn't go to church, for instance. He was like, well, that wasn't even a subject. Just do what you do. And I feel like my parents were a bit more like, no, we have to go to church now. But you know, I think he was closer.
He was a bit less judgmental.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. About church, going to church. Come and have a seat on the table of chat. We need you. Yes. We do need you. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Man in demand.
Can't be everywhere.
So, well, just give us a couple of minutes. Give us a couple of minutes as you're walking past. So, this is Talkie Talkie Pop-Up Talk Show. We have got Casper, we've got Sarah, we've got Laura, we've got Tim, we've got Margot, we've potentially got these people.
Right.
No, potentially haven't got these people. What's your name?
My name is Bhupendra.
Bhupendra, welcome. This is Talkie Talkie Pop-Up Talk Show. There's a few things we've been talking about. One of the things is, can we actually learn a little bit from the kind of mainstream UK community from how other communities in the UK look after their older people? Are we actually kind of ignoring older people a little bit? You know, because we heard from someone from the Gujarati community. You heard from someone. Is that you as well? Kem Cho. Anyway, but can we learn from communities like that? They've got a different approach to older people, and they're in a way valuing them more. Casper works in a pub, and he's doing like the early shift, and a lot of his job is talking to people, and the older people have got a lot to say, and maybe we're not listening to them generally.
You know, the ethnic communities we have got, like our South Indians, you got Nepalese, you got Indonesians, Sri Lankans. We more or less have to look after our parents.
So,
I mean, we don't chuck them in an old people home or anything like that. So we have to look after them. And it's been going for generations like this.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think about the sort of mainstream kind of white British approach to...
I don't think it's very common. I mean, I've seen a lot of English people looking after their parents and all that, but not to the amount that the Asian community do that. I mean, even Chinese. Chinese, I think what the rule they have in China is like when you used to have one child only. That child is supposed to be looking after his parents, and if they're married, in-laws as well.
So it's a lot of work actually for that one
child.
child.
If they don't look after, the state will penalize them.
Really?
That's China.
Right, okay.
We are not that bad.
But I mean, do you feel kind of almost like, let's say, if you don't look after your parents, are you kind of like socially penalised in a way?
No, we are not. But what thing is that if we don't carry on the thing, that's going to happen to us when we grow that old. Our kids are not going to look after us because it's not a common thing.
Hello. Yes, come and have a seat. Are your kids going to look after you? That's what we're talking about. And do different communities look after their young people in different ways? That's what we're talking about. We have got Bhupendra, we've got Margot, we've got Tim, and we've got Laura, Casper, and Sarah. Come and join. Yes, you're all welcome to join. That's what we're talking about at the moment. Okay, well, what stall are you doing?
We're Signals Media.
What is that? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We are a non-profit charity.
Hang on a sec. Bhupendra, I want a final thought from you before you go. But let me just hear about Signals,
We are a non-profit charity, so we do workshops for children between 7 to 18.
Okay.
So we do like stop motion, video game making, other types of staff. We're neurodivergent workshops as well. So they just get hosted in the summer. And it's just a place we got to do a film course as well.
And how did you get involved in that?
We kind of pestered them after a while. We were like,
you wanted to do this kind of filmmaking stuff? Yeah. Okay. Give us a final thought and tell us a little bit about
what you were saying about the important lessons that you learned and how it's not a specific lesson, but they've got something that none of us have. They're able to look back in retrospect and be like, this is what's happened over my life, and this is how I'm feeling about it nearer the end. And that is something really precious that I feel like we should be like passing down to people, and we do need to learn to just sort of, because they're looking back at their life and they're thinking, whatever I did, look, I'm happy about it now, and that's something that we should feel throughout our lives.
Maybe it could be a subject for one of your films or one of your videos.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So that's our ending.
Well, thanks very much. So we will go. Thank you. Leave a couple of flyers there. I've got a new face over here. Tell us your name.
I'm Nina. Hello.
Hello, Nina. Thank you. We had Sarah and Casper, but they're off now. I hit you with applause. Laura, Tim, Margot, Bupendra's on the phone, but I want to get a final thought from you.
To call somebody for you.
Oh, okay. You're trying to get a replacement. There's no replacement for you, Bupendra, because you're unique. But give us a final thought.
Final thought about the festival?
About anything, really. I mean, about this conversation. One of the questions that's come and get involved. Yes. Come and get involved. Yes. Yes, you. Yes. I mean,
do you know what? It's a really good sit down.
Yeah, it's good to have a sit down, have a chat.
I can't find him.
So we got Nina, we got Bupendra. Tell us your name.
Tim,
another Tim. We've got Tim over here. We've got Margot. We've got Laura. Do you know each other? Are you in the Tim Club together?
No.
No.
Although we do work for the same place.
So. All right. Well, we've heard. I tell you what, Tim, we've heard. Yeah, go on.
Are you on the same team?
On the same
same team. Amazing. Anyway, but one of the big things we've heard today is, are we kind of doing it wrong as a kind of mainstream British society? Are we not looking after our older people? Are we not listening to our older people or learning from them enough? We're just putting them in homes and kind of forgetting about them while we rush around doing all of our important stuff. That's kind of what we're talking about at the moment. But I don't know, are you staying for a little bit longer, Bupendra?
No, I've got to go.
Oh, give us a final thought then.
About what?
Anything, whatever you're thinking right now.
Well, just enjoy the festival.
Yep.
That's it.
Any highlights? Any particular thing that you think is, apart from Tokyoki, obviously?
It's one good question.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, as we are here with St Helena's Hospice, I mean, do people know about hospice in Gujarati? And is it easy to, to kind of get the message across that this is for everyone? I was just wondering.
We actually had a visit. To St Helena.
Okay.
All the seniors.
Yeah. How did that go?
It was perfect, great.
Yeah.
People learned a lot.
I mean, because one of the things we touched about earlier on was this kind of sense of shame to send your elderly relative to a hospice, especially actually in the African community. Is that a similar thing in the Gujarati community?
Similar, we don't send them.
You just wouldn't send them?
No.
No way?
Unless with no choice.
Yeah. Okay,
it's the last resort.
So it would just be a straightforward no.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good point.
I'll just say, so one of the things that we need to be better at communicating at the hospice is that we're not just a building with 18 beds, that we work with people in the community. So actually, for communities who want to look after people at home, we can support with nursing and with medical care and that kind of stuff. So the idea is that, as we try to grow into different communities, we can support people as they want to be supported. So if they don't want to come into the hospice building, that's absolutely fine.
Have you got any metaphors for that?
I wasn't expecting that question.
We're like for that network.
Yeah, like we could say it's like ocean with streams coming out of it.
Yeah. Okay.
How's that? Is that good?
Yeah. So the hospice is the ocean, but there's many streams that connect to the ocean, and you can go up those streams.
We really spend a few hours at the Colchester hospice.
Okay. So you wouldn't necessarily send your people there, but you would benefit from their services if they came to you.
If there's nobody, then somebody has to be there.
Yeah.
But I don't think you'll find many Indians there.
Yeah.
You do have?
Yeah.
Have you got many Indians?
Got many Indians? I'm going to ask this to the other Tim, because you also work for many Indians in the hospice?
Not that I'm aware of.
Right.
Why do you think that is? What?
We look after the parents and elderly. As the last resort, we send them.
They're usually looked after at home by extended family, friends nearby. They're still close-knit, but it's changing because the kids growing up nowadays are preferring the more Western lifestyle of living on their own. So I don't expect my kids to look after me. I won't have anyone
do you feel
look after me.
Do you feel a little bit cheated if you're looking after your parents and your kids are not looking?
I'm actually not looking after my parents. I mean, I step in for a little while, but then I step out of it because I have got a brother who looks after my mother, and somebody's always there. But when we go to them, we do our little bit, you know. But we would like to do more, but they live in London, we live in Colchester, so we just kind of like go up and down.
Pop in,
pop in and out kind of thing, yeah. But as I said, if I lived closer, I would probably be able to contribute more.
Okay. And would you want to contribute more?
Oh yes, yes.
But you're totally relaxed about your kids just kind of going, oh, I'll see you next month.
Yeah. But that's just the way it is.
That's just modern life.
We've just accepted life.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really excellent point. I mean, my mum is in Poland, and after losing our dad, she's just literally on her own. Her and my sister don't get on very well, so she's just literally on her own. But you know,
does that make you feel under pressure that you should be?
It does, but it's partly acceptance and partly, you know, kind of, you know, I've got my ear out to the ground. I can't live her life for her to some extent. But but I think it's a difficult one. But but this is the thing. I think are there any people? are people having less children now? Because I think part of the reason why this is kind of developed as a service, maybe I could be completely wrong.
Is it down to actually people having less children? Is that why?
Yeah, because I think people are not having as many children as before, and therefore you don't have this extended family. What with that?
Okay, is it that? Okay, Laura.
I just wanted to add one, I think, quite important topic, and it's about people having children and expecting them to take care of them when they are old because they took care of the kids when they were young. And it's not only my opinion, I actually read about it quite a lot, how it's a lot of pressure on the other person that didn't really have a choice to, you know, come to this world, and it's like kind of already put with that burden. So it's actually better for us as adults to just kind of figure ourselves, our plan for when we are old, without just putting the pressure on the kids.
Okay, so
you know what I mean?
Factor in the young generation. It might be better for everyone in the. Come and join us. Yes. Come. Yes. Dogs are allowed. Yes. Come along. Thank you, Bhupendra. Let me get final thoughts as well from you.
I'm coming right back. I'm just getting a drink.
Oh, okay.
You did say something I was going to respond to, but I can't remember what it was.
Well, we're talking about factoring in this kind of busy lifestyle.
Oh, yeah. You said about planning things, and so you'll see on the table there, one of the things that the hospice does is the My Care Choices Register, where we ask people to think about when they're towards the end of their lives, what kind of care they want, so they can plan and be prepared, and then that way their families don't have to make those kinds of decisions for them. It takes the pressure off the families. So there's a little promotion for the My Care Choices Register. I'll be back in 2 minutes. I'm just going to go get a drink and I'll be right back.
Thank you, Tim. I didn't realise you were just popping. I thought it was a bit more final than that, but sometimes it doesn't have to be final. It's the final countdown. Where do we want to take this conversation, Nina? You've heard a little bit.
I've had a little bit of a sit down.
Yeah, you've had a little bit of a sit down. I mean, do we need to drum up more business from these ethnic minority communities at the hospice? Or
you can take an example from them about looking after their elderly. But times are changing. I mean, people have got, especially young people, have got so many responsibilities now. Cost of living, trying to support themselves, everything going for them.
Actually, young people have got quite a lot of pressure on them.
So they may not necessarily have the time to look after the elderly.
Yeah, okay, well, I mean, that's another point as well, the pressure on young people. Any reflections on what you heard so far, Tim?
My reflection would be that I think there's a bit of a misnomer about what a hospice is.
Yeah.
Because yes, we do look after people that are elderly that need end-of-life care. But it's not exclusively for elderly people. I mean, we've had people that have gone into the hospice that unfortunately passed away in their 20s and younger.
Yeah.
So it's really if somebody gets an end-of-life diagnosis for whatever reason. So in terms of society and how the British society looks after elderly people, it doesn't do well, I don't think, because I think, you know, you leave home and you create your new home, and then your family becomes kind of periphery to that. Whereas I think within cultures like yourself, then the family is a much stronger bond. So I think we do kind of abandon people as they get older. Rightly or wrongly, but I think that there isn't enough. I mean, and I think you saw it through the pandemic, where the government didn't support elderly people at all. They left them to their own devices.
So you know,
I got a bit political.
That's
there,
okay. You can get political on Talkie. There's no rule against it. There's only 2 rules: no fighting, no singing. Apart from that, that's fine. Did older people get abandoned during the COVID pandemic? Margot.
Is it possible to kind of instill that sense of kind of, I don't know, family in the community though? Because I mean, I have lived in England for 20 years, and really the amount of different volunteering opportunities and organisations. I mean, I know the government is not that great, but you know, as a standard in Britain, as the country, there's a lot of funding, relatively speaking, in comparison to Poland, where I'm from. A lot of money directed towards services, and of course it can get better, but you know, I just think there's a lot for people to be looked after or engage in stuff at different points of their lives and for different reasons, but there hasn't been maybe this kind of, you know, the golden bullet of like how to create actual, like almost like a family vibe within the community. It's the aspiration, but how that, you know.
I mean, can you replace that family vibe with funding and with services?
Yeah, exactly. That's the question. I don't know.
Okay, all right, Laura.
So I actually wanted to go back to the subject about how the hospice is not only for old people and what we don't really think about, but like that's a very good point, that there are younger people who are facing death, and sometimes the hospice is maybe one of the solutions that they can consider.
Hang on a sec, Laura. Come and join us. This is Talkie. 2 minutes. Let's get a final thought. Let's get a final thought from you, Nina, before you go. Yeah.
Can I? Okay.
Hang on. Sorry, Laura. I'm just gonna. It's mid-comment, but guys, come and join us. 2 minutes. Go on, Nina.
I think this is a fantastic camp where you can actually speak out your thoughts concerning the elderly, any kind of issues really.
Anything.
But
absolutely.
I know very specifically you are concerned about the elderly and the hospice, etc. Is that the
main?
I
mean, it's just we've been invited here by St Helena Hospice.
Oh, I see.
I mean, we just go around talking to anyone about anything, but it's being sort of next to the hospice as kind of.
And where is it based, the St Helena's Hospice?
It's based in Highwoods in Colchester. So it's currently, I think it's an 18-bed unit, but most of the people that we deal with is out in the community, because now most people that are end-of-life diagnosis elect to be at home, so they're surrounded by their family and the ones that they love, rather than going into what is a clinical setting, I suppose, really. So it has changed.
Okay, so most of your work is actually out and about.
I mean,
and how big an area do you cover?
Northeast Essex.
Okay.
So I mean, we literally see thousands of people every year. So
Okay. So,
thank you very much. It's lovely to learn more about the hospice.
I mean, have you got anything that you want to throw in just to keep the conversation going?
Yeah, I mean, how open are you to sort of people popping in to volunteer? I don't know.
I think I would say
how are the doors open? Are they wide open or a little bit open?
Wide open. Wide open. We as a hospice rely on volunteers, so we have over 800 at the moment. So we always want people to come and help us, doing whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks so much. Thanks for contributing, Nina. And we've got a new face.
From Jamaica by any chance?
Tell us your name.
I've got similar mechanism.
Tell us your name.
Oh, my name is Wayne.
Wayne, we've got Tim, we've got Margot, we've got Laura. Sorry, Laura, I cut you off halfway through. My name's Mikey. This is Talkie Pop-Up Talk Show. There's a few subjects on the table at the moment. What did you want to say, Laura? Maybe we'll go from there.
Well, I wanted to talk about young people in a hospice and how maybe that's also a taboo that we don't talk about or even think about.
Yeah.
But it reminded me of a Netflix series that I watched recently, and it's called The Midnight Club. And it's actually the story. It's like a fantasy series. There is some supernatural things happening, but it starts with a group of kids, and they all have some like deadly disease that they are facing, whatever, 3 months, 6 months, a year, and they all go to this one hospice for young people to spend the whatever time they have left. The series is called The Midnight Club.
Midnight Club,
and I think the Midnight Club, the name.
This is impressive.
And
Are you holding court?
I can't finish.
Well, it's kind of. Come and have a seat. We have got Tim. We have got Wayne.
I can't afford to sit down for 5 minutes.
Okay, give us 2 minutes. 2 minutes. What are you troubleshooting right now? What's
this festival?
Okay. Is it in trouble?
No.
It looks very untroubled to me. Yeah.
Have you been drinking? Have you been drinking?
All the time.
Where are you drinking? Jamaican white rum?
Yeah.
Good lad.
Okay. Come on, give us 2 minutes.
Coke.
Tell us your name at least. What's your name?
My name is Pubi Naidu. Pubi Naidu.
Pubi Naidu.
That is so nice.
Okay, well, that's a big well done for that, because it's a great festival. We're really enjoying ourselves here. And these people are going to come. Yes, this man's very curious. Satisfy your curiosity and come over. Yes, satisfy your curiosity. And this person, come and sit down. Come and get involved.
You've got a big catcher.
All right.
He's a major community player.
Okay.
He's an author, etc.
Yeah.
And he's big in the community.
Okay, you are big apparently. What's your name?
Professor Atul Shah.
What can I shorten that to anything?
Atul. Yeah.
Or I can just call you Professor, can't I? Is that okay?
Well, yeah, that's fine.
And who have we got over here?
My name's Helen.
Helen, we have got Laura, we've got Margot, we've got Wayne, we've got Tim, I'm Mikey. At the moment we're talking, there's a few subjects on the table. One is about, we're here with the St Helena Hospice, so it's a lot of chat about death and dying, but a few different angles. One is about young people, because we talked a lot about older people today, and are we looking after our old people enough, especially in the kind of, like, you know, the white English community? Should we be taking a lesson from some of the other minority communities that are looking after their older people a bit more proactive? So there's that one question. There's also about, actually, hospice is not just about older people, but actually someone can have, you know, a terminal illness at any time of their lives. So there's that subject as well. It's kind of wherever you want to take it. So people got thoughts about where they want to take this conversation?
I come from a culture where we believe in reincarnation.
Yeah.
So really,
Can I ask you what culture is that?
Jain.
Okay, yeah.
Death is a comma, not a full stop.
Okay.
I also conduct funerals.
Yeah.
And that also helps me to come to terms with it. But also we see, because of the way the culture sees it, we don't deny death. So the children also get exposed to it. It's not hidden.
Yeah.
And we talk about it openly, right? And that also helps.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, and the other thing is, we know for a fact that death and taxes are certain in life, right? So then the question becomes, why not just let's talk about it? What you're doing is brilliant.
Well, I mean, this is an interesting thing, and what we're wondering. One of the things that came up, there's a few different things we can relate that to. When we first started talking, we were talking about funerals. Should they be humorous? Should they be a funny affair? Should they be joyous? Should they be sad? Or all of the above? So there's that kind of side.
It's a celebration. Funeral is more for a celebration of the person's life.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you're going to mourn, but it's also a celebration.
Yeah.
You know, as I said, is when someone died, you know, bury, you know, you celebrate the life that the person lived.
Yeah.
Right? Because like today is marked 4 years since I lost my mom.
Right. Okay.
So it's celebrate our life. You know?
Yeah. I mean, do you think that let's say the mainstream English society, do we do our funerals well enough? Is that why we can't talk about death as much as maybe some of the other?
I mean, there's a lot. I've been to English funerals. There's a lot of formality attached to funerals in terms of dress, and almost like people feel they have to put on a face as well. And I've been to our funerals. We don't have that, you know. And if you feel like crying, you cry. Also, we have some ceremonies before the funeral. For example, we have almost as quickly after the news comes, we have a gathering, a prayer gathering, where the whole family is sitting in front, and everyone gets a chance to give their respects to the family, and indirectly that gives them courage, that gives them the fact that, look, if people are with them in times of joy and sorrow, right? It's not as if people shun that away. So all those cultural practices make it easier, make death more palatable. Now, of course, but we are in this country, so we do get influenced by the wider energy and vibration. But definitely, I mean, I'm a finance professor, and guess what? You open any finance textbook and there's nothing about death at all in it. And the assumption is that, money is the key to well-being, and more money equals more happiness, and more money is something that you can take even after you die. So because by not talking about it, they're effectively saying that you can take it with you when you die. I'm the one who brings the subject of death into the
world of finance.
Well, into the science and theory of finance. I spoke at Barclays 2 days ago in the headquarters in the Docklands about my latest book on sustainable finance. Well, the thing is, they are absolutely cornered. They are in a bind, and they really need new ideas to take the science forward. And this is where I come in, and I've written books about this.
Helen, you wanted to chip in there?
I'm not sure if I'm picking up on the point you've just made, but I'm just making a general point about funerals and should they be happy, sad, whatever. It's grief, and grief is loss, and with death is physical loss. I'm on the same page that energy doesn't die; it just carries on in an unembodied form. That's my insight. But however, if you're there and you've experienced this physical loss of a loved one, you are going to grieve, and it's the Kubler-Ross insights around change. And the grieving process is really a process of change, a radical change. It's about going through all the emotions. I think she came up with 5 different stages: grief, anger.
What's the name again?
Kubler-Ross.
Kubler-Ross.
Yeah, so Kubler Ross, and she worked in a hospice. So anyone who knows about hospice working will know that she developed this insight over time. And basically, it's a parabola. So you go up and down, but actually you can be at any point in time on that when it comes to grieving. And also, that model is really useful if you go through a radical personal change, you break up the loved one, or you have a radical change of job, whatever.
So it's not just for death, it can be actually
it's not change.
Any kind of change. Okay. I mean, where do we want to take this? Do we want to talk about the finance side? Hang on a sec, Professor, we have a final thought from you before you go. Is finance the key? Talking to the bankers the key to get death more on the agenda in our world?
Yeah, in the sense that if we can start to see that money is not the be-all and end-all, and that we are not able to take it with us when we die, then probably our attitude to money while we are alive will also change dramatically. Right?
So is our attitude to money connected to our attitude to death in your mind?
I would say the other way around. The denial of death in the science it creates a problematic attitude to that.
Okay, so it's in a way us kind of
Also our attitude to death opens up what is our attitude to life, which in a way does build on what a point that's just made about money. So what is the purpose of life? Why are we here? Why are we alive? So if it's my own personal take, it's about growth, it's about development, it's about understanding, and actually that's the true value. So money, keeps you going day to day, but actually understanding oneself on a deep level, and therefore what is happening around you and your relationship with nature, with earth, with other people, that is why we're alive.
Okay, that's a good one. I'm going to go around the table on this one. Why are we here? What's it all about? Wayne, have you got any views? I know you're videoing the kind of Balkan dance, but why are we here? I don't mean just at the talkie-walkie table, I mean here on this planet, here in this life.
Well, we're here because God created us for here, so we can live and be fruitful and multiply.
Yeah.
And that's the whole main purpose of being here.
So our purpose is just to create more of us.
Yeah, and live good with each other.
Okay, and live with each other, okay. I'm going to go around the table on this. Why are we here?
I think we're here to develop and be fulfilled as people and society. Whether we are is another matter altogether.
Okay.
You talk about money, and that's how people judge themselves or judge others by their riches.
Do you talk about money in your line of work?
Not particularly.
Okay.
No, I mean money is, our services are there for anybody that needs them.
Yeah.
So our services are provided free to people. For them when they're in their hour of need.
Okay. Why are we here?
Do you know how when you exercise and sometimes you have to put so much effort and it's even like so painful and you're just like, oh my god, why am I even doing that? But afterward it feels great.
Yeah.
So I think this is what we are doing here with like living, just experiencing all sorts of emotions, the good ones, but also the bad ones. And without the bad ones, the good ones wouldn't feel as good.
So we're going to kind of get spiritual endorphins after all the suffering. Yeah.
That's why I think we are not really taught well enough how to deal with with sadness, with death, with negative emotions. We just kind of like, we always have to be on the bright side of life. Like, no, we have to learn how to embrace both sides to kind of become a whole with all the elements that we are made of. So that's my contribution.
So it's about also becoming whole. I'm picking up some words as we go along. Tim, why are we here?
I just say to love and be loved.
Right. Okay, is that simple?
That's simple.
That's simple. A simple one.
I don't know, maybe to put in something in the world that wasn't there before, and it could be very, individual. Could be, the connections that you make, and or if you're an artist, just create something from your own perspective, but with a view to connect with other people. Yeah, to connect with other people, I'd say. Create and connect.
Okay. Well. I do like it when it gets a bit philosophical, but now I don't know really where to go with this conversation.
We've done the meaning of life.
We've done the where do we go from the meaning of life? Maybe it's time to have a little...
Humans, the future of humans.
What is the future of humans as far as you're concerned?
I'm a bit worried because of the mess we're making on the planet and AI. It's really the climate catastrophe, but really what it's digging into is our failure in terms of our psychology, to change our psychology.
Okay, well, so we need to change our psychology, says Helen. Do people agree with that? Is our psychology just fine? Do we need to change our psychology? They can't hear me, but anyway, I'm just putting out there. Do we need to change our psychology? That's what Helen says. If you agree, disagree, come over to the talk.
Tug of war crashing.
There's a tug of war. So the tug of war need to change their psychology. I feel like this side are not taking it seriously enough. I think they need to take their psychology.
Today's society with young people on technology. It's good and it's bad.
Yeah.
Because if you leave the kids them and a lot of parents not playing their role, they give the kids technology and just leave them alone. Okay, go to your room and on your iPad or your phone and then kids doesn't want to interact with each other. And when you find someone on the road interact with it, people find as if you're rather strange because you're interacting. But the kids these days, all they want to do is sit at home, play video games, and they don't want to go out and play.
Okay, so it's almost like we've kind of become more isolated, more insulated, antisocial.
More antisocial.
Yeah.
You know, you have devices by making actually antisocial. Talk about social media, all these technologies.
But it's actually antisocial.
It's antisocial. Kids doesn't want to. They sit behind the phone and talk to people and don't want to interact. And that's the problem we're having these days.
Have we become more antisocial?
Of course.
Go on, Tim.
I was just going to say we judge ourselves far more. We have become a much more anxious society. And we are breeding young people that are putting themselves up against an ideal that doesn't exist.
Okay.
And I believe we are ultimately developing a pandemic of mental health issues.
Okay, so that's Margot, you ready to jump in the middle because it's getting a bit tough? A pandemic of mental health. Are we becoming antisocial? Is social media the culprit? Is it other things as well?
I think they're symptoms of our psychology in the sense that we've ceased to relate to nature, we've ceased to relate to ourselves and understand ourselves and also to each other. So, you know, I think that love and be loved is really key, and they only connect, because in a way the word connect opens up this idea of relationship, but we're just creating an artificial environment to live in, and we're living in this state of artifice, and so we're totally disconnected at so many levels. I think it's really sad.
Okay, hang on a sec, Wayne, because we've got a new face. Hang on a sec, we've got a new face at the table. Tell us your name.
Hi, my name's Kimet.
We've got Tim, we've got Laura, we've got Tim, we've got Wayne, we've got Helen. I'm Mikey. I'm just about to jump out of the middle, but don't worry, the conversation will carry on because Margot's about to jump in. We're kind of on a bit of a meaning of life kind of thing, and why are we here? But then we kind of heard it's to love and be loved, to connect, to grow, all of these things. But then Helen kind of dropped the bomb, saying, well, we actually need to change our psychology as human beings? And then we heard, actually, are young people kind of becoming isolated and alienated? Tim said, we've got a pandemic of mental health and anxiety. So these are some of the big questions we're going, but I'm not going to, luckily I don't have to host this. Margot's going to jump in the middle because I've done my time now. So keep it going. Give Margot a big round of applause and I'll let you jump in.
I'm going to go under.
Are you going to go under? So I don't know if you've got any thoughts straight off the bat, Kimet, about this?
Well, I certainly think there's a massive mental health issue going on. Anxiety certainly is very prevalent in all walks of life. But since COVID, I've seen it in demographics which I wouldn't have really thought was that common. Well, it's what one would consider as fairly successful, typical white-collar workers who have the financial stability and the social connectivity, but following the COVID outbreak, all the sort of fabric of their sort of being falls apart, and it was certainly. As a business owner, I saw that with a number of staff, which I didn't think would be actually possible. But COVID turned life upside down for many people, so it does need to be addressed.
Okay, so that's brilliant. Thank you very much. And this is just an opening comment here, and we are just right at the end of the tug of war. I think our team won, which is lucky. That means we're not going to get people falling through the tent. But if they do fall through the tent, that's okay because this is Talkieki. More people to conversation. But anyway, welcome to Talkieki. This is a pop-up talk show. You're welcome to join or just listen if you wish. Right now, we're going to start with a round of names just because I wasn't paying attention very much. So, but I know what my name is. It's Margot. That hasn't changed. So what's your name?
It's Helen.
Hey Helen.
Mikey.
Laura.
Wayne.
Tim.
Easy.
Kimat.
Komet. Okay, right. Cool. So so you, I mean, we could go in any direction as Mikey recapped. I'm not going to do that again because you already heard it. But you are talking about COVID and whether that has been actually addressed properly in our communities and the kind of struggles that kind of the pandemic caused to people, and does it just still carry on? I mean, are you still struggling from the pandemic? Was the pandemic a breeze or was it okay for you? It's just one of the questions, Mikey.
I think what you'll find is I've got friends that are still won't go out, and so you won't necessarily see them here. Because they don't go. I mean, I went to the pub with her for the very first time a couple of weeks ago, and I was so pleased that she actually invited me to the pub. But then she was still wearing like two masks, and like just taking the mask off to sip a beer and then putting it back on again. And it is about anxiety for her and the anxiety of coming back into the world. So I do, in a way you don't see those people because they're still at home. So I've kind of just forgotten about it and carried on, moved on. But other people have not been able to do that so easily.
But I mean, has the pandemic been in any way kind of like a learning opportunity? I mean, because you're a business owner, right? I mean, are there any kind of things that we feel like, and we've got a new face around the table. What's your name? Just give us a name. Nalin. Harleen. Welcome, Harleen. And also, so is there anything that COVID was good for?
It radically changed my life because towards the end of the first lockdown, May 2020, I got made redundant with 2 hours notice, and then by the end of the week I decided to sod it. Well, I sodded it pretty much straight away, I think she gave me 2 months redundancy pay, which was great. Anyway, end of the week, I came to see my friend in Wivenhoe. I saw a property, fell in love with it, and that was it. Two months later, I sold up, got a new job in this area, and got out of London. And that had always been on the radar for 25 years of living there. That was what I wanted to do. And so COVID really worked in my favour because I thought, if I don't do it now, when will I do it?
Yeah, okay.
And it all just came up. I think for me, it was good. It was good.
So it kind of was a now or never opportunity for you to change your life dramatically. We've got new people around the table, hundreds of new people around the table. We've got Harley, obviously. What's her name?
Visaka.
Hey Visaka, nice to meet you. So this is Tokioki. So we've been talking about COVID, the pandemic, how it's changed us. Has it made us change in a positive way? It was definitely a positive choice for you. You move out of London and change your jobs. I mean, what's it been like for you?
Maybe not me, but it's noticing other people, how they've interacted with their families. So there are a lot of elderly people maybe who didn't spend very much time with their children or grandchildren or anything, and actually, because they couldn't spend that time, they were actually drawn together quite a lot. So I think people were taking opportunities to do things more. It's sort of live for now and not for next week or next month. They take each day as it comes, and then live each day, I think, is the main thing. And recognising people's loneliness when you're realising what they're having to do on their own, when they've had no one else that can help them, and then being there for them at all times now. I think that was,
Okay, so maybe appreciating life just on a day-by-day basis. I mean, Wayne, what's it been like for you? Have you even noticed it?
Well, it's different for me because of my job. So.
What is your job?
I'm in the army.
Okay.
So it's different for me. So I kept working the same way. So it didn't really bother me. So, and lots of people. Well, to be honest, I capitalized on COVID because during COVID, I was going out and train. There was a training, running in my own time. Every morning, just goes and do miles and miles of running and training for London half marathon. So I use that and just trying to clear my mind. So for me, I just go out and train. I was going Facebook Live and encouraging people to get off their butt and go out and do some training.
And how did people respond to this? Have people been encouraged by this?
Oh yes, definitely. Because I always have something good to say to people and try to encouraging people to go out and do something, And a lot of people always say they're always looking forward to see my video, because I'm always trying to motivate people.
Okay, so for Helen, you changed your job, changed your lifestyle. You expanded your lifestyle. You kind of became from just being an ordinary army person to a social media star, encouraging people to do positive things throughout COVID. Yeah, Mikey.
I guess there's a lot of negatives with COVID, and a lot of people suffered a lot. But I think looking at the positives, there were positives that people, I think, have become more considerate. especially younger people, where the pandemic has had a relatively much bigger impact on our lives, and we've heard a lot of
this swan sound is making big impact on my ears. Is it a swan? Is it a trapped swan? Somebody can tell me.
But yeah, anyway, the younger people actually, there are more. I think they're more in touch with their emotions, but also more empathic towards other people's emotions. I'm not disagreeing with the thing about the social media or the anxiety, but I think the flip side of that is they're actually more considerate and more empathic.
Okay, I mean, I want to ask the young people around the table, do you think you've got empathy? Do you know what empathy is, actually, as the first question? No? And if you don't worry, because we can work out the definition. Do you have any idea what that might be? Or maybe somebody can explain. Yeah, go on.
Explain.
Yeah, Tim, you go ahead.
So I'd say empathy is when somebody else is feeling something, you can feel it with them. So if your sister, is that your sister? If your sister feels sad, do you feel sad for her? That's what empathy is, when you feel somebody else's feelings. Does that make sense?
Okay, so now kind of bring it back to your life. I mean, have you started noticing people? Have you noticed people on the street, your family members, a bit more? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you notice about them? What do you make of people in your nearest environment? Yeah, for instance, in school. Yeah. What are people like?
People changed after it.
They're kind, helpful, and
yeah, no, so they're kind of helpful, which is kind of like reiterating your point, Mikey. And so empathy is something that kind of has been, I don't know, and particularly with young people. You're saying the young people have got more emotional intelligence. So are older people just slightly, you don't have it. It's a bit late in the day to learn emotional intelligence now. It's a kind of generational shift. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think older people don't have it. I think you gain emotional intelligence as you grow, but I think the younger people have got more earlier on. So I think they've got, in a way, a head start from people of my generation.
Yeah. I mean, and what do you think of this this whole situation? Because you kind of brought us onto this COVID chat. I mean, what about your family? Yeah. Jim, are you going? All right, give us an interim thought.
I need to go and have a comfort break.
Yeah, good. I feel empathy with you, so I hope you have a really good break and it's an enjoyable one. Wayne, are you off as well? What are you going to say? I mean, we are here with the St Helena's Hospice, and we kind of have been talking about people's kind of habits towards the end of life. What's it like? Do you ever think about end of your life? Does it change when your perspective is from the army perspective?
I'm not scared of dying, because we're here today, we're going tomorrow. So I am not scared of dying. So, I make peace with myself, I make peace with God, so I'm not scared of dying. Because we're here as a flesh. It's here as a flesh, and your body going to the ground. So we can buy dust, and dust shall we go back to.
So it's about kind of making peace with yourself. And
make peace with God. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike, you've got a question.
I just want to ask you just before you go, because you said you're in the army. Obviously, there's a war going on in Europe, and I find it quite scary. How does the fact that your job could involve actually dying, does that? You're not scared of that, or that doesn't kind of? Do you think about that, or do you just kind of like?
I'm not scared of dying, because because we're gonna. I think more people are scared of living than actually dying. Be more scared of living, because a lot of people come back about COVID, and a lot of people struggle during COVID, being isolated and on their own. And I've seen it firsthand with people, on their own. So it's not nice being on your own. But I make peace with myself, and I'm not afraid to die, because you've been in the army, so we all gonna die one day. We all gonna die.
I mean, is it quite a common kind of approach from the Jamaican perspective as well? I mean, I can't help but notice that you're wearing a Jamaican t-shirt. It could be a pure coincidence. I have no idea. I'm wearing Tokiyaki t-shirt, but I am inside of the Tokiyaki table, so there you go. But I mean, is it quite common among people from Jamaica to be like, listen, it's all about making peace with yourself, and the rest is just life,
It's just because of my Christian background.
Yeah. Okay.
Because of my Christian background, so I believe in God, and just make peace and live a good life.
Yeah.
You know, we're here today, gone tomorrow.
All right. Thank you very much. Any last final thoughts?
Yeah, for us parents, we need to minimize the amount of time that we give our kids devices because they make them very antisocial. Kids doesn't want to go out and play like they used to. You know, the kids grew up back in the 70s and 80s, you know, go out and play and you have to beg them to come back in. These days, you have to beg the kids to go out to play.
Yeah.
Because we give them devices to keep them quiet. As a young baby, we give them little devices to keep them quiet, not to go out and play and enjoy themselves. And we are at fault. Us as a parent, we're at fault because we're making the kids very antisocial, and that's the problem we're having. And they're going to cause a bigger problem eventually.
So thank you for this. Kind of back to social media. I think this is our fourth session of St Helena's. Thank you very much, Wayne. We've got your card as well, which is nice. And people have been talking about social media as a source of positive change and carrying a positive message as well as negative. But you know, there's a hope around social media. You as a parent, I mean, I don't know who else is around the table who is a parent, but I mean, how do you feel about social media? Is it just like, yeah, go on.
Actually, social media scares the hell out of me.
Oh, really?
As a parent, I find these are my young daughters with me, and the prospect of them being exposed on social media to anyone and everyone frightens me. It's a big world out there. It could be a big nasty world out there, and in that environment I'm not there to protect them like I am now in person, and that does scare me. And the sort of measure in which we're dealing with it now is simply to avoid it until such time as I'm unable to avoid it. So at the moment I'm always being told, Daddy, can I have an iPhone? And I know exactly why they need a smartphone.
Why is it?
It's simply to connect with her friends, because their friends have got this. So it becomes a peer issue as well, peer pressure. Yeah, social media scares me. It's a deep, dark world, and unless and obviously there have been incidents in the past which have come out that social media has influenced very bad outcomes for children, and it definitely needs to be addressed at governmental level so that there are appropriate checks and measures, and the social media companies are also held accountable for the outlet itself. Yeah.
So I mean, okay, so you're quite worried about social media. I mean, how are people kind of like, what? Come and join us. Are you scared of social media? Should the social media be scared of you? Come and join us. Come and join us. This is a pop-up talk show. It's called Talkie Key. You are on it right now. Right now we've got Laura, we've got Mikey, we've got Helen, we've got Kamet, we've got Harley, and we've got Tim, and we've got, what's your name?
Isabella.
Welcome, Isabella. Right now we've been talking about social media. As a parent, you're very worried, and you're kind of postponing the moment where social media becomes so much of a social pressure thing for your daughters that you just will have to give into it. But right now it's just really, really scary. But the way we got there, we were talking about what is the purpose of us here on this world. Is it to connect, to create, to procreate? Is it to pass on the energy and just join with the nature flow? And then we've been talking about COVID, how that impacted different communities, and was there actually anything positive to be gleaned from COVID? Are we doing things differently? And then there was a whole conversation about social media, because you, Mikey, said one of the positive things that came out of COVID was that young people and older people, they were kind of brought together a little bit more, and young people have got a better emotional intelligence now, so it was perfect for helping people get through it. But do you have any initial thoughts on any of this? Social media, I mean, social media should be scared of you, you say? Are you dangerous?
No.
Okay, not yet. Mikey?
No, I just think it is it's a bit like the same situation with cigarettes, and for a long time the government wasn't doing anything about people smoking cigarettes until it came out that it was really, really harmful to smoke cigarettes. And I think social media is just as addictive, but it's actually engineered to be addictive. There's lots of positive aspects of social media, but the way the companies are set up, and it's purely a choice, they don't have to be set up like that, is to make it addictive to actually polarize people, to reward extreme comments, and all of these things. It's just a switch of a bit of code. They can make that different. It doesn't have to be like that, but it will be down to government to actually change the way they operate. So I do agree with you that the government should step in.
I mean, should there be an age limit on using social media? Are you going to go? Are you taking off? So, Tim, would you like to give us some final thoughts and maybe, some provocation?
So I think just my final thought is that we've talked a lot about scary things, but I'm quite optimistic about the future. I think there are scary things, but there have always been scary things. And young people like you, the people who I meet are empathetic and kind and compassionate for the most part, and I think humanity has the opportunity at least to head in a really positive direction.
I mean, are there any particular things that you're looking forward to in the future? Any particular positive highlights?
Well, this is the start of a whole new conversation just I'm about to go with. Like at the hospice, we're talking a lot about how we can use AI to help patients with physical illness. Base notes. And I think there's a threat, but there's also an opportunity there. And if we ride the waves well, those opportunities can get us through a lot of the things that we're scared of.
Okay.
So I'm optimistic.
Okay, so it's
that's
an
my final
optimistic
thought.
mic drop. An AI literally. So AI actually could be a positive thing in the life of people who have got different diseases and they're towards the end of their life. I don't know how that would look like, but I'm open to learn. So that's it. But thank you so much, Tim, and run along to your wherever you're going. Give him a round of applause or just one of these. But we are competing with quite a lot of barrage of music, but which I like, by the way. Yes, Helen, any final thoughts from you? Any advice on the social media?
Don't know about social media, except it is all a bit. I agree with you. It's tragic. But just building on what Tim said, I've actually got a very pessimistic view because I think the reality for change comes from within. It comes from being aware, observing the reality of what you're creating, how you're looking at the world, how you're reading it. That means really keying into how your thoughts operate and what is underneath all of that. I won't go into all the ins and outs of it, but I'm really I found the work of Jiddu Krishnamurti, for example, extremely helpful, and I think his quote, "The truth is a pathless land," is extremely valuable in terms of really finding a way to move forward around changing psychology, which means knowing yourself really, really well. So I think maybe if there are a few of us on the planet, maybe it'll be more viable for that to happen. I don't know, but I do think it's all about changing oneself and how we relate to each other. Okay.
Fantastic. So truth is a pathless land. Okay, thank you. That's a parting quote from Helen. Thank you very much. We are here to find. Sorry?
Who's the quote from? Sorry, I missed that.
Jiddu Krishnamurti.
Okay.
Jiddu Krishnamurti, you heard it here, but go and look the quote up. Okay, so the future, is it a positive? Thank you, Helen. Are you feeling optimistic about the future, or a bit not sure, or you try not to think about it? Is it just too much to think about? Are you optimistic?
Optimistic. It has to be. Yeah. Otherwise, the alternative is very scary and dark and scary.
So is it about almost like not make yourself, but kind of make yourself think positive? Because because what is the alternative? Is it like a mental effort to keep positive for you?
For sure.
Is it?
But for me personally, it's a practice. Because otherwise it's easy to get sucked into other things that may not be good for me.
Here's a question. How do we know when things are good for us and not good for us? And also, how do you kind of keep that positive drive forward? How do you feel?
How you feel.
Okay.
It's very simple, how you feel. So if you feel good, it's good. If you don't feel good, then it isn't.
There's something's not.
But it might be too late by then.
Okay.
Then you just need to crawl out.
Okay, so you need to kind of stay vigilant for the signs of how you feel, whether you're in a good place or not such a good place. Yeah, Mikey?
Coming to a festival like this does make me feel optimistic. So, because it is it's a fantastic gallery we're at. It's a great crowd of people. I think, you know, we are starting. It's a very, very long and tedious and tortuous process, but we are starting to, you know, like the festival like this, we're actually in the UK starting to actually really value all of our different communities a bit more and learn from them. And I think that's something that, you know, we have done, but in a very colonial way in the past, and we've actually trying to progress away from that, which I think is really good.
So festivals like this, I mean, you bring it back to actually the location. And are you feeling good here? Are you feeling like you're on the right path? Is the UK on the right path? I mean, is it changing? Is it becoming more? I don't know, understanding and inclusive of different communities around here, or is it still the kind of colonial narrative? I mean, come and join as well. This is a Tokieki pop-up talk show. It can go in any direction, can flip any second. Yeah.
It's an interesting question. I think there are still many challenges for this country, and I think superficially, yeah, things are going well. We're celebrating diversity when we can, but I still think if you scratch deep beneath the surface, there is elements of divisiveness, and you know, I'd go as far as saying racism still exists, and prejudice. So we still have to work tirelessly to challenge where we see prejudice, where we see racism, where we see negative energy being placed. We need to challenge that at every stage. I think the government can do more. I think the event today is fantastic. I think a celebration of all cultures in you know, little Colchester. I don't often see it. I'm from Colchester and I don't often see this, and it's fantastic to be here. Yeah, I think you know, as long as we put the effort in, you know, there's positivity there.
Yeah.
And we're sort of heading in the right direction.
Yeah. I'm on time. Yeah, just. But this is really interesting because you're saying about, you know, yeah, we're kind of on the right path. This festival is a nice thing. However, you have to have the courage to kind of stand up to the government and kind of call out racism as strongly as that you have put it. Also, I thought maybe Colchester could be renamed Colchester. I don't know. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But anyway, but I mean, how easy? I mean, what? And by the way, welcome to the Tokieki. This is you're a new person to the table. We've got Isabella. Obviously, we've got Harley. We've got. Are you off as well?
I'm off. Yeah.
Okay, 1 second. And never got your name.
Jasleen.
Daphne.
Jasleen.
Jasleen. Nice to meet you. Mikey, Laura, and I'm Morgan. This is Tokieki. What's your name?
Mansour.
Mansour, welcome. And you can come and join us. This is a pop-up talk show. So before you go, do you want to give us some final thoughts? Any kind of like, where would you like and in what ways would you like racism or inequality challenged, or the issues that you've raised? What would be a good way of challenging that?
I just think we need to, in the same vein as what we're doing today, celebrating diversity in the truest sense and with a genuine honesty, that there are differences, but we have also you know, we're all part of the human race, and we just need to accept that there are differences, and there will be differences, and there have been in the past gruesome natures in which people have been treated, and we need to also recognise that and not shy away from the truth and the historical facts. Kids should be taught about what colonialism was about, how it treated other nations, and how the wealth and riches of this country have been earned. That should be taught to children, so they understand that, you know, it's a big complex picture. But overall, I'm positive. I'm happy to be here.
Apart from social media, a little bit is giving you a bit of a negative vibes, but maybe there's a way out of that as well.
Definitely.
But you're enjoying yourself here.
Definitely enjoy myself. Thank you.
So according to Isabella, this is like all you have to focus on. Just use your inner compass for whether you feel good or not. I feel like you've got a lot of kind of spiritual, I don't know, power there. But thank you so much. Yeah.
No problem.
Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the festival. And yeah, really lovely to meet you, and have a lovely rest of today. So yeah, I mean, you dropped quite a few major bombs here. What do people make of this? I mean, what do you think about this idea of, you know, British society? To what extent is it about educating people about the kind of colonial past? How much of it is actually spinning it into a positive way and celebrating? I mean, do you feel like this is the right way to celebrate British diversity? Is it about British diversity? What's this festival about? Why are you here?
I'm here because I missed the last two,
right?
And I wanted to come and show face and show.
You're doing a great job.
Support, and I'm really surprised. It's really nice. It's really nice to see all the different colours of the rainbow.
Yeah. I mean, what is the surprising element? Is it seeing also? Come and join us. Are you surprised by this festival, or is it everything that you expected it to be? Come and tell us. So we've got Isabella, we've got Mansour, we've got Laura, we've got Mikey. My name is Margot. Give us your name.
Ida.
Ida and?
No.
No? Welcome. And this is a fluffy dog, but we need it for the mic, but that's okay. So right now we're talking about this festival, and is it a right kind of celebration of the communities, or Britain in general, or communities in Britain? Is it about challenging racism on daily basis, as somebody was saying here on the table before? We got there because we were talking about the future, and are we feeling optimistic about the future or not so optimistic? Isabella, you said it's if you are in a situation you feel good, then you're on the right path. But do we always know what things are good for us and not good for us? And then we're talking about social media as well. Should there be an age limit on social media? Is it constructed to be addictive, just like cigarettes? So the way Talkeki works, that you decide on the subject, that you would like to discuss. Any views, any thoughts? Have you got anything to throw in, Mansour?
Actually, I don't know what to say, but I think if monthly, for example, once they organize something like this, it can help the people to see the other diversities around themselves, to make friends, to pass the time happiness.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. My English is not so strong that...
I think your English is perfect, and I think what you're saying, so maybe more opportunities like this would be quite good for the community.
Of course.
I mean, this is quite thank you very much. This is like quite an interesting festival, because obviously there's the performances and the music, but there are also different kind of hubs, there's different foods and different kind of services as well. I mean, what's it been like for you coming here today? Obviously you came here because you feel a bit guilty that you missed the previous ones. That's okay, we don't judge, but you're showing your face and that's really good. But how's it been for you, Ida? I mean, what do you think of this festival?
Well, I think it's because all of us as a community in Colchester, we come more together. Other cultures, we learn other things about other people. So it's more like interesting because it's just not us, so all of us together to become one community.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, what are the kind of like key things that bring the community together in your view? What would help you kind of maybe engage with other cultures or let other people know about your culture?
I think like today, like everybody's out today doing their own like flag, cultures, food. So it's more like all of us together.
Yeah. So just kind of be seen, see other cultures, and just kind of observe. Fantastic. What is your culture?
Sudan. I'm from Sudan.
Sudan. Okay, Sudan. Fantastic. What would are there many parties or kind of festivals happening in Sudan? Do they differ? How does it normally work?
Absolutely, yeah. It's a big difference. Like, it's similar like Sri Lanka. Similar contrast. So the thing we do probably henna, designs. We have like a traditional wear called taupe. So yeah, it's very interesting.
Oh right, so loads of stuff. Thank you very much, Mikey.
Just because we got, he's gone now, but Tim, the chaplain from St Helena Hospice, we were talking a lot about funerals, and actually one of the interesting things for me about today is we heard about funerals from around the world, from Kenya, from Nigeria, from Malaysia, from all around the world. But just because we've heard of that, I just want to know what a Sudanese funeral is like. Is it similar to a Kenyan or East African one, or has it got its own flavour? And how does, one of the other things we're talking about is some people like mourn their dead straight away, and it's all over very quickly, but for other cultures it's quite a long period of time, and there's lots of different stages to it.
Celebration of life, yeah. So what is the kind of end of life funeral?
It depends if the person really passed away at home or in the hospital. If the person passed away in the hospital, obviously they put them in a freezer, in a fridge, while a family member of them coming to collect them, and do obviously like similar to here, you do the birth registration of the death. So it's kind of similar, but traditional way, you just have to cover them in a white material, and of course you go wash them, clean them, and then you just put perfume in them, and then they're ready to go. Obviously they go and pray on them, and that's it. That's all.
But that's interesting. So you cover the dead with perfume, and you kind of dress them up.
Yeah, wash them, perfume, and then you just like a white material. You just cover them.
Yeah.
And then they're ready to go after prayer.
Yeah.
So they just bury them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Ida. And also we've got a new face to the table. We've got Isabel, we've got Mansour, we've got Ida, we've got Noel. No. And what's your name?
Hi, I'm Peter.
Hey Peter, we've got Mikey, we've got Laura over there. My name is Margot, and this is Tokyo Kids, a pop-up talk show. Right now we're talking about different funeral traditions in different cultures. So we just learned about the Sudanese, the washing, the draping in white cloth. Hello, welcome. And spraying people with perfume. But there's like a whole ritual. Isabel, you have to bow out, I believe. Would you like to give us some kind of final thoughts and about absolutely anything? All right, yeah. I mean, I will be here, so you let me know when you're ready. So, Peter, this is kind of where we are at the moment. We've got a new face around the table. Give us your name.
I'm Race.
Race, welcome. Yes. Okay, Isabel's got her final thought. That's good.
Okay. Love is the most powerful energy.
Say that again.
Love is the most powerful energy.
Okay, love is the most powerful engine. How do we keep it? Energy. Oh, okay. I was thinking all kind of like car related. How do we keep this energy energetic? I mean, is it easy to keep it energetic in the UK?
No, it has to be. Again, it's a practice. So you start where you can and try and add to it and get it. You can't see my hands because we're on radio.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's an energy flow.
Get it moving, and more things come onto it, and then powerful.
Yeah. I mean, are there any particular things that give you more energy than others? Obviously, not this talk show right now because you're quite tired. We are trying our best, but yeah. I mean, where is the energy coming from? Is it this kind of like, I don't know, is it a reflection on the life of people who passed away? Where is it coming from? Will you write your message?
No. So I would say, first of all, you ground yourself. Meditation's a good way to ground yourself, and then you go from there. Sometimes it's quite difficult to be big energy, but if you start with where you are, little energy, it grows. And it grows. Yeah.
Okay, so start small, grow it. Start with meditation. Leave your details here, of course, or draw a diagram to obviously let us know. How it all works. We can pass it on. But yes, so Peter, this is where we are right now. We are here with St Helena's Hospice, and we have been kind of finding out about people's, firstly, like attitudes towards end of life, towards death, and also, go on, please.
Well, we have different attitudes, don't we?
Yeah.
And we have lots of mental health problems with our death, like such as celebrities.
In what way do you mean?
Well, things can happen dangerously, like that they can commit suicide or something like that, and cause a lot of problems to their mental health.
Okay, so maybe there's a bit of it's a bit hard to talk about death, but there are suicides, and that's a kind of thing out there that we're learning about.
Such as Philip Schofield.
Okay, has he committed suicide?
No, but he's on the way to doing it. You think so?
Okay.
No, but he's expressing how he feels.
Okay, and that's a bit too much. So Peter, I mean, are you rolling out?
I'm rolling.
Okay, do you have any initial and final thoughts for us about anything?
No, thank you. I appreciate you bringing people together to talk about things.
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you very much. You're most welcome, and have a lovely rest of the afternoon. And Isabel, you're going as well. What do you think about this? Yes, I mean, you've dropped only a big one. It's suicide. I mean, can you energize your way through the crisis that is suicide? Can the meditation help you in that, or is that being a bit too flippant?
Well, that's supposing that there's anything wrong with suicide.
Wow, absolutely. I mean, is suicide actually wrong? Has that been questioned? Yeah, Mikey?
I mean, earlier on, I think it was actually Judith that's walked past now. You were mentioning euthanasia, and I think especially at the end of life, suicide might be an option to avoid pain and suffering, and also your family suffering because they don't want to see you in pain. However, I think most suicides are younger people that can't, and as Reese mentioned about mental health, they can't actually deal with the mental health problems, the stresses, the anxieties that they have.
Mansour, I know you're going. Give us a final thought, just like Isabel did, and then she stayed for ages. And you're welcome to. Yeah, no, that's fine. Take your time. It's okay. Mansour, give us a final thought. Give us some final thoughts about. I mean, what's the kind of funeral tradition like in your culture?
Yeah, actually, in Iran, we don't have any festival like this because it's different culture in Iran.
Oh, Iran.
Iran, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's Islamic country that everything is much different with the Euro countries. That's why we are very interesting of some festival like this, to have a dance, to have diversities people. I don't know what more to say, but it's very interesting. And if I was one of the powerful people in any city, I 100% I will arrange some place for example once per month to have festival, to bring the people all together, especially the small cities that most of the people they know each other.
And do you live in Colchester?
Yes, yeah. Okay. I just here around nine, almost 10 months. Yeah.
And can I just ask you, have you heard of St Helena's Hospice before?
No.
Do you know what hospice does?
No, I didn't hear. But
Tim, would you be able to just tell us a little bit about St Helena's Hospice? What it does? Yeah. Sorry.
What would you like to know?
What is hospice? But you're going. What is the? Okay. Well, thank you very much. You've put in quite a lot. So enjoy the rest of today. Sorry, because you have to go. But welcome, Marilyn. Do you want to come and join us? Or are you sitting on the peripheries? But it's. Thank you. We have been talking about this festival. We've been talking also about the influence of social media and celebrities. Yeah. Sorry, Mr.
I arrive and people just disappear.
No, that's not true. You don't have that power. It's a superpower. It's a special power, but you don't have it. It was just unfortunate coincidence. Come and join us if you wish. This is a pop-up talk show. Right now we've been talking about social media, and also, what is it about celebrities as well that that we kind of know about Philip Schofield's journey, but do we know about what people, what our neighbours go through?
Well, he did something terrible.
Yeah.
He committed something that he shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
But he said that I'm done.
That's what he said.
I'm done. My job's done. Yeah.
Okay, so you're interpreting it in that kind of.
And then Caroline Flack did the same. She committed suicide.
Okay.
I mean, I do think that there is a bit of an indication of you talked earlier on about Tim about this kind of pandemic of mental health, and I think you're referring to it too. But I think you know, the weird thing is what we see as successful, like Philip Schofield and other celebrities, is actually a very, very high pressure cooker environment to be in. So you're on the top of the tree and it looks like you've made it, but actually a lot of those celebrities don't actually enjoy themselves because they're in the public spotlight all the time. So I think it's, in a way, and it's the same with social media, that, you know, people that get popular on social media go, right, I've got 1 million followers, but
extra pressure.
am I really happy at this point? Am I really living the life that I want to live? By that point, you can't. It's fine. We can hear you fine. But yeah.
Okay, so is that extra pressure of celebrities? I mean, do you follow any celebrities? Are they relatable material or
Radio 1.
Yeah.
I follow sometimes Nick Grimshaw.
Radio 1. Okay, Nick Grimshaw, right. Okay, I mean, do celebrities have got a role to play in kind of talking about important issues? I mean, obviously mental health is a massive one, and yeah, do we always know what's happening in our immediate community, or celebrities kind of feel like part of our community as well because we live in a global world? But meanwhile, we've got Tim, we've got Mikey, we've got Reese, we've got Laura. My name is Margot, and tell us
Marilyn,
welcome. So this is kind of where we are at the moment. Should we get someone, maybe not someone who's done something bad, but maybe a positive role model to be the face of St Helena's? Do you sometimes feel in your community like you cannot be anonymous? Yeah, Marilyn?
There is a public face, isn't it? There is a public face, we do.
Apart from you two, who?
Oh no, apparently our patron is Dermot O'Leary.
Dermot O'Leary, right. Who is he? What is he famous for, Dermot O'Leary?
He's a DJ, and he does things like X Factor and those. Well, I don't know because I know nothing about that stuff.
Okay.
But people know him and they love him. Okay. So
you don't.
This morning.
He's on this. Yes, he replaced Philip Schofield, didn't he?
Oh wow, full circle.
Willoughby.
And Holly Willoughby. She's who is she? She's part of.
She was Philip Schofield's friend at one point, and then she got annoyed with him.
Yeah.
And he took the wrong side.
Yeah.
He did something in this morning which wasn't appropriate.
Okay, so yeah, they've lost their friendship to something terrible that happened. I mean, I'm kind of wondering, what is the, what is there a particular direction of the conversation we would like to follow?
I mean, I can't actually remember the name of the woman, but it was somebody that you were talking earlier on about people that had a terminal diagnosis. When they were a lot younger, and there was one woman, I can't remember her name now, but she documented her struggle with bowel cancer, and she became a celebrity through her podcast, but I can't remember her name. You might know Tim, but but I think people like that are actually really, really useful to bring those kind of conversations into the limelight. So I do think there is a role for celebrities that are, but in my mind it would be celebrities like that are actually in that situation. But yeah, maybe we could have more of those. And she passed away recently, actually, but for about 5 years she was documenting her struggle with bowel cancer. Yeah.
So here's another thing. Can you become a celebrity because of your illness, and kind of how you share it with the world? Maybe slightly different to people like people on the radio or people on TV, but maybe not. I mean, is there some kind of, I don't know. What do people think about this? Are there kind of different degrees of being a celebrity? Is it, what do you think about this, Reese?
I think being a celebrity can get you into if you do something wrong in being a celebrity, it can put your mental health even more.
Okay, so it can actually be risky. I mean, are you worried about Dermot O'Leary's mental health by being such a kind of high-pressured, performing such a high-pressure role, which is the face of St Helena's Hospice? Does he get a room in the hospice? in the future?
I'm sure he would be very welcome if he was in need of, as anybody is.
Okay.
But I think, the broader thing is anybody that has something that is worthy of attention. So they become not a celebrity, but they become higher profile. And I think something like the lady that died from bowel cancer, what that did is that increased the awareness hugely, and more people have gone to get tested, and hopefully that means that people will get an early diagnosis and have a positive outcome. So that's the kind of difference. Celebrities we think of as being high profile people that are on the television that we aspire to being.
There's actually this kind of this other type of celebrity where you are kind of raising awareness of a specific issue, maybe.
I just googled it. It's Deborah James is her name. But yeah, I think in a way, now that she's gone, I think we should encourage other people to do similar things or something in a way in their own.
Are there any causes that you're passionate about that if you had to become a spokesperson for a cause, what would the cause be? Maybe you can go around the table.
I think the mental health thing. I think we need to have more of a chat about mental health, or just talking.
What's part of mental health?
There's two sides. There's a kind of clinical, very severe mental health, where with kind of severe kind of psychosis and mental illnesses. But I think for me, it's things like anxiety and depression that I think are actually very, very common. And maybe we need to talk about those kind of mental health issues quite a lot.
Do you have to experience those issues yourself before you can talk about it, or is it like?
I don't think so. Sometimes you're living with a partner that's got mental health issues, or you've got a family member. So I think there's lots of different sides to it that we could be talking about.
Okay, so mental health would be the cause that Mikey would start a YouTube channel for. It's not the People Speak Talkiaki. Yeah.
It might be like also as well talking to people with mental health issues and helping them to talk about their thing, because I think quite often people like that feel very isolated.
Okay, so mental health. What is it for you? Are there any particular causes that you're passionate about?
Well, I would have to say probably volunteering. So within St Helena, we are hugely reliant on volunteers. From a retail perspective, which is the bit I care about, because that's what I'm involved in, I couldn't do any of the clinical side because, frankly, that scares me. But working in fundraising, I can do that. But without volunteers, we wouldn't be able to open the shops, we wouldn't be able to do so many of the events that we do. So volunteering is a big thing for me in that regard, but I also, outside of working for St Helena, I do 2 volunteering roles as well, independent, and that's good for my mental health.
And what do you volunteer for?
So I volunteer at the Colchester Arts Centre, so I do the podcast for the Colchester Arts Centre, and I also kind of work front of house and bar. And then bizarrely, through a twist of fate, I do a radio show on a local radio station. So that's that's my kind of volunteering, and it gives me a good feel good.
Yeah, and a way into speedy celebritydom. I don't know if that's the word. Celebrity. No. Okay, so by the way, welcome. This is a pop-up talk show. It's called Talkiaki. We're just here kind of having a chat, talking about causes that people are passionate about, but also celebrities, talking about, celebrities having responsibility too.
I don't know what's in there.
Oh, okay. So, anyway, maybe we should get some names. So we've got Marilyn, we've got Tim, we've got
Olive, Nari,
Mikey,
we've got
Reese
and
Laura.
And Margot. Sorry, I just kind of switched up from people saying the names to me trying to say people's names. I remember everybody. Olive, and Nari. Right, cool. So so here we are, and we're here with St Helena's Hospice. So we have been talking about people kind of documenting the end of life, and just to kind of raise awareness. I think it was bowel cancer. Someone had
Deborah James. Deborah James had a podcast about having bowel cancer.
Yeah, and that kind of stuff. Yeah, Reese, you mentioned mental health. You kind of opened up this whole conversation about mental health, how important it is. Yeah.
I mean, celebrities don't care sometimes about their mental health, and they should express it.
But do you mean they don't care about the mental health of other people or their own mental health of other people? I mean, what do you think about this idea? I mean, are people like celebrities responsible for how, which messages get pushed through on social media and otherwise? Because as we were saying, maybe the government needs to step up and address some of the issues, but can celebrities actually play a role in that?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. I think the government should step in, but I think each, as individuals, we also need to look after each other, and we should care about the kind of messages that we're sending out to potentially vulnerable people. Yeah.
I mean, are there any kind of particular messages that are kind of floating in the ether right now, or out in social media that you think are not very helpful to people, or are kind of, or maybe some positive messages?
Something that I've seen recently is this BBL. I don't know if you know what that is. It's a Brazilian butt lifts. That the procedure that gave the Kardashians the bodies that they have, and how that it's been widely spread now, and there's so many women getting these procedures, but women are dying. It's actually very harmful as a procedure. So things like that, where we know that the Kardashians have a lot of their fame is because of these bodies that they have, but they're spreading potentially harmful messages to women.
Okay, so we're learning something new every day. So BBL, as a potentially a seriously damaging procedure and a dangerous one. And there's some ice creams that just rolled in, which is obviously brilliant.
Just want to say, Olive, you've got a drip that's just about to on your purple bag. So just be careful with that ice cream. You're going to have to eat that quickly, because otherwise it's just going to be a disaster. Watch out. Anyway, but that's I didn't have a point about Brazilian. I don't know anything about Brazilian butt lifts really, so I definitely wouldn't get one myself, or feel pressured to get one.
Okay, so we've got this. I mean, okay, so there's kind of raising awareness about something like that with Kardashians. Yeah.
But I do think there's other pressures that boys and men have as well, and I think that is growing and growing and growing, and it is obviously it comes from Instagram and other social media platforms, and people just kind of suck it up. They don't, even if they think they're critical about it, they're all like, oh, do I need to get, the other day we were talking about turkey teeth, or like having I don't actually remember. I can't remember what is turkey. I can't remember what turkey.
I think turkey teeth was when you go to Turkey.